Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Both These Guys Wrestling Podcast. My name's Richard.
I am Mark.
And we are back with another packed show of contemporary and retro wrestling. We got the not XW, that's not even a thing.
This is a great start.
It really is, isn't it? Fight Club Pro, which we went to on Friday evening, the 23rd of June. We'll be reviewing that this week, and we will also be reviewing 2 episodes of Monday Night Raw from the Invasion era. So, a packed old show.
Yeah, I think so.
With some good stuff, some less good stuff, some interesting shows.
The very interesting shows, especially the retro Raw stuff.
Yes, it's a historic era. Lots happening on these shows.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, we had the Stranger Than Fiction show from Fight Club Pro in the Starworks warehouse.
Starworks warehouse, the second show that Fight Club have done at the Starworks new venue.
A packed venue as well. There was a lot of people in.
It was, yeah. I think they're still trying to get to grips with the capacity that they can have in there.
Yes.
There's still tickets available on the door.
Yeah, not many though. I don't think. But
I don't think so. That you could probably still fit a few more in.
Yeah, there were a few issues with the show, weren't there? It was late starting, late letting people in.
Yeah.
Warm beers, which didn't go down brilliantly well.
Yeah, you would think with it being a club as well, they'd be prepared and know that they need to have drinks in the fridge.
Yeah, although according to the barmaid when I asked, nobody had stocked the fridges, which is a great start to the evening. But the wrestling itself, it was a very good show, wasn't it?
It was really good, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
There was some shenanigans. Trent Seven came out because he's the co-owner of the promotion.
He's the co-owner, yeah.
He came out, did a kind of welcome to the show, introducing the arena and all the rest of it, did a little bit of back and forth spiel with the crowd. And he announced that some, pro wrestling, independent pro wrestling anyway, you sometimes get these things where people don't turn up and there's issues. So there was a little bit of rejigging of the card. There was only... It was 2 or 3 matches announced before. 3 matches were announced. The triple threat with Jordan Devlin, the shit Finn Balor,
yes.
Will Ospreay and Mark Haskins.
Yes.
A tag match with Mustache Mountain versus CCK, and a championship match for Fight Club Pro, which was Pete Dunne challenging against Travis Banks. We had a little bit of a rejigging though. Trent Seven called out Travis Banks to the ring, presented him with a new World Championship for Fight Club Pro.
With a lovely new belt.
Yes, it was very, very nice.
While admitting that the old belt was just the ECW TV title with a sticker over it.
It did look a little bit ghetto, didn't it?
It did a little bit.
The new one, though, very, very nice.
Looks very nice indeed, yeah.
Kind of looked a little bit like the Impact Grand Championship.
I thought that actually, yeah.
But still very, very nice. Travis Banks was presented with this belt, and then we had the WWE do this, don't they, where one person after another comes out and says they want to challenge for the belt.
Yes.
This went on for quite a while. There were microphone problems and a few little teething issues with the new setup, I think.
I think they was playing for time, wasn't they?
They certainly were. And it ended up being a 6-way for the championship, with Travis Banks defending against Trent Seven, Pete Dunne, and CCK.
CCK, yeah. And Tyler Bate,
excuse me. So that was set for the main event, a 6-way. This went on for a while, but it was quite entertaining stuff.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Lovely new belt.
Very nice new belt, yeah. Good way to open the show, but I think because they were late anyway, letting people in, this did run on a little bit. I think people were just clamouring to get into a little bit.
Yeah, they wanted to see some wrestling, didn't they? But still, it was an eventful opening segment.
It was.
Which led us on to the first match, featuring
which also shortened the announce matches down to 2.
Yes,
because they merged 2 of those together.
Yeah, they did, and one of those changed as well as the show went on. But the first match that we had was 2 Australian dudes, Mark Davis making his Fight Club Pro debut against Aaron, the Aussie Arrow Fletcher.
Aussie Arrow, yes.
This was really, really good. Mark Davis. Sorry, excuse me. No, it was Mark Davis versus Kyle Fletcher.
Kyle Fletcher, the Aussie Arrow.
This was really, really good.
It was, yeah. It's excellent opener. Got the crowd into it. They seem to be fully aware of who Aussie Arrow was. I wasn't aware of either guy before the match.
No, me neither. The Aussie Arrow dude's hair was terrible. That was the definition of a crap indie haircut, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. He was straight out of the grunge era, I think.
Yes.
Listening to his Mudhoney beforehand in the back.
Somebody has to. But they had quite a hard-hitting match. There was some terrifying spots in this.
A couple of terrifying spots, but both guys worked well together on... probably know each other quite well from the Aussie Indies as well.
I'd have thought so. And Mark Davis picked up the win, which was a surprise, but the crowd were heavily into both of them, and they had both a really good reception.
Yeah, celebrated together at the end and to the back.
Absolutely. We then had... this was strange. We had a three-way tag match, didn't we? The Hunter Brothers versus Aaron Solo and Ricky Starks, extra talented, the two American chaps on the show.
Representing the network.
And you reliably informed me Aaron Solo is Bailey's chap.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a boyfriend or the other guy said it's a husband.
Yeah, he said
I don't know if they're married, but yeah, it's Bailey's fella.
So Bailey has, we understand, probably kissed the boy, unlike what they're trying to possibly do for SummerSlam.
It seems like it, but maybe it's not that kind of relationship.
Maybe not. But they were really, really good. I like those.
They were excellent, yeah.
And they, the third team in this match was BT Gunn and Wolfgang, who has popped up on the UK Championship. I think he's done a match on NXT as well, hasn't he?
I don't know, to be quite honest.
I'm sure he had a match on NXT.
He may well have done.
The striking thing about this was Wolfgang came out and no one cared.
No, hardly any reaction to him whatsoever. He got onto the middle rope and put his fingers up into a W shape, and I think two people also did the same thing.
Which is weird, isn't it, really? You think the other dudes that have got exposure on the network and exposure on the WWE stuff, they come across as a bigger deal than a lot of the other indie guys over here nowadays. And there was just no reaction. I
think with this kind of crowd, though, it's who you've seen before at your local shows and that kind of thing.
The Hunter Brothers in particular, who are a local West Midlands tag team, were over huge, weren't they?
Yeah, as they always are, coming out to the heat is on.
Yes, your favourite song, I understand?
I fucking hate that song. And they won, and I had to hear it twice.
Yes, they did. They won with a frankly terrifying double foot stomp.
Yeah, it looked like they were both about to fall off the corner.
Yeah, it was BT Gunn, I think, that took the fall for this one. But
yeah, Billy Gunn, as he was called.
Yes, Billy Gunn. Ricky Starks, I think, called him.
Yeah.
It took them about 15 minutes to get to the top rope to hit that double foot stomp.
They are quite old.
Well, yeah, I guess. What do you think of the Hunter Brothers? We've seen them a few times now.
They're fine. They're they get the crowd into it.
Yes,
the crowd like the kind of act who should always have a place on the card, I suppose, for local events.
Yeah, absolutely. And the local, whilst the UK indie scene is getting a lot of very warranted attention, the West Midlands scene seems really, really hot at the moment, with guys like the Hunter Brothers, Amari, who popped up later on the show.
Yeah.
Obviously, the British Strong Style guys who are making a big impression over here and in America.
Chris Brooks is a local lad.
Yeah, it's really good to see West Midlands wrestlers getting a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The big thing about the Hunter Brothers, where they're from Tipton, and people will chant Tipton, Tipton
over and over
again. I was reading a review online last night of a previous Fight Club Pro show, and somebody not local to the area was at the event, and he'd never heard of this place, Tipton. He was then told by somebody who was with, "Oh, it's not an actual real place." It's just, he actually wrote the review as if Tipton, with a double P as he spelt it, was a fictional town.
Kind of like Dudleyville and Moustache Mountain.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, maybe that can be their gimmick. Tipton's not really real.
Yeah.
Although sadly it is.
Yeah.
Speaking of local wrestlers, we then had a match which I didn't care about at all. You didn't care about at all, and quite a lot of people did not care about this at all. We had Dan Maloney, who again was on the network, and again we've seen him a couple of times. He came out, he does a gimmick where everybody shouts down at him all the time and he can't speak. So he told the ring announcer to announce that he was the baddest motherfucker in the room, and he challenges anybody there to an open challenge type affair. And we had Clint Majera come out and made it a no DQ match. Now, the Star Works where this show was, probably 400 people, maybe a little bit more, perhaps.
Give or take.
It's a warehouse in Wolverhampton. There's no big screens, there's no big Titantron for the crowd to see the action. They spent 80% of this match fighting in the crowd.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's 4 or 5 row seating, or on floor seating. It's not as if there's tiers to it.
Nope.
And then also floor standing.
And quite a lot of people standing.
Yeah, probably half and half, do you reckon, seating and standing?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's the thing, they were fighting through the crowd from one side to the other, and nobody could see anything.
Nope.
Which is why people didn't care about it. I think if it was a normal match in the ring, because the crowd was behind both guys.
Yeah, they were. Absolutely, they were.
But yeah, just the fact that you couldn't see a thing. Maybe it'll look fine once it's on demand. The camera was just above the ring level. Maybe it'll look a little bit better there, but it was getting no reaction because people just couldn't see what was going on.
No, I took this opportunity to run off and go to the bathroom, and there was a lot of people in the bathroom. I think they all took the exact same opportunity that I did, because you couldn't see anything, and it was just a bit disappointing. Dan Maloney got the win by dropping Clint Margera onto 2 chairs that Clint had set up in the ring. And we thought killing Clint Margera. We thought we'd broken his leg, didn't we?
Yeah, the way he landed it didn't look good.
No, it was an uncomfortable landing, to say the very least. Off the top rope through 2 chairs. That looked very uncomfortable. And Dan Maloney picked up the win to not much reaction.
No, not really.
Which then brought out Session Moth Martina. Now, I've seen this girl before on some Progress shows. What is Session Moth Martina, for those who might not have seen her?
I don't know, because I've not seen her. I've seen her in short little videos that people have posted on Twitter. But does she wrestle?
She does wrestle. I have seen her wrestle.
I think she's supposed to be kind of a chavvy, drunk
clubbing girl. I
guess so.
I don't know.
She comes out to Darude Sandstorm and
does a series of wacky dances. And we were in the minority here because the crowd went mental for Session Moth Martina.
And the woman that I was sitting next to had a Martina shirt on.
Yeah, she came in cosplay, didn't she?
Absolutely, including all the rips on the back.
Yeah, and similar physique, because she's not the slimmest girl in the world, is she? She's not massive or anything.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No. But it's just an odd gimmick. I don't really get it.
Yeah,
it makes it sound like cantankerous old men, doesn't it? But I don't get it.
Is it like an ODB kind of gimmick, do you think?
Yeah, possibly a little bit. Because it's very sexual stuff, isn't it? She got into the ring.
Yeah, it's all grinding.
Yeah, there was lots of grinding up against a very nonplussed Dan Maloney, who had the best facial expression during all of this. Just Bond-like neutrality, I think. Staring off into the middle distance, not caring while this woman kind of grinded up against his crotch.
And shaking her tits in the face of the guy who did the ring announcing.
Yes, who looked quite disturbed.
Absolutely mortified by it.
Dan then gives Session Moth Martina a big boot. It calls her a slag at one point as well, which was lovely. This all went on for a little bit. It felt like a time-wasting segment. They had 3 hours to fill. Just got to do something to get something on there. So Dan kind of ran his mouth for a little bit, and then the glass broke. Stone Cold Steve Austin's heel 2001 music, which we've heard quite a lot recently on the retro shows. His music hit, and out came Joel the referee. No, not Joel the referee.
Shay the referee.
Shay the referee.
The tiny 14-year-old referee.
Yes, from Lucha Underground, which I enjoyed very much. He came out. He was talking. He was doing the Austin head shake. And then they kind of sort of double teamed Dan Maloney, and Session Moth Martina.
He went to punch Dan first and he caught his hand, and then just like
shenanigans went on for about half an hour.
Yeah.
It was all not for me.
No, it follows on from the previous show at Fight Club, which I saw just short videos of, where that ref Shay and Martina are again dancing and grinding in the ring, and I think it's seemed to be a case of she was chasing him, and now all of a sudden, he's falling in love with her, that kind of thing.
Kind of like Stockholm Syndrome.
Yes,
a little bit,
only worse.
Yeah, but this went on for a long time. The crowd seemed into it though, so I guess what works.
Yeah,
wasn't for us,
I guess.
And then they went to the back after beating up Dan. The end of that, thank Christ. We then had Jordan Devlin, who looks like shit Finn Balor, as the crowd often let him know, with his massive head, versus Mark Haskins versus Will Ospreay. All those 3 dudes came out. Will Ospreay looked like he was having a great time in the ring. Just before we got going, out came Amari, who's a local dude who I think trains with Fight Club Pro.
I think so, yeah.
He came out to a great reaction. and they made it a 4-way, although Jordan Devlin wasn't keen on the 4-way.
No, I don't think so.
This was the match of the night for my money.
Yeah, I think without a doubt it was excellent.
Randy Orton wouldn't have liked it. Lots of flips and dives.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay hit a couple of quite tremendous sort of back handspring moonsaults over
Gave
the
us a
ropes.
Randy pose as well.
He did. He gave us a lovely Randy pose and then called him a wanker directly into the camera, which was good. This was just really, really good. There was
really good fun. Just balls to the wall action, really, wasn't it? No time to breathe.
No, and giant elastic bands to the balls as well.
Oh yeah, I'd forgotten all about that.
Yeah, Will Ospreay came out with like a exercise stretchy thing.
Yes.
And on the one side of the camera, he kind of pulled it back, ran up the aisle, and let go, and
pulled it back probably about 15 feet. It looked.
Yeah, and then smacked Jordan Devlin in the chest. Then he came over our side of the ring, and then ran into the crowd and did it directly into Jordan's balls, which I'm not even, there's no illusions here. It's fake.
Yeah.
That looked really uncomfortable.
It really did.
I don't know how you fake that.
I don't know. I guess wear a box maybe.
Yeah, possibly. That did not look like fun.
No.
I would not want to do that.
Not at all.
There were a couple of slightly scary spots during this, but Amari picked up the win by beating and pinning Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
It's got to be a career highlight for him so far.
Will had some fans in the crowd, didn't
He certainly did. There were a couple of girls behind me who were very big fans of Will Ospreay. Very pleased that he's straight. Yeah, it was all a bit inappropriate.
It was total inappropriate.
It was. Yeah, let's move on. But this was a fantastic match. When this goes on the on-demand thing, I would suggest people watch this because it was fantastic. We then had an intermission which lasted about half an hour, all told. We then had, starting off the second half of the show, Kaylee Ray versus the debuting Millie McKenzie. This was really good.
Yeah,
really good fun.
Yeah. No idea who Millie McKenzie is.
Nope.
Is she? Do you know anything about her?
Nope, I know nothing. The crowd really
might
liked
have been
her.
Australian.
Yeah, she did. She kind of had that look to her, didn't she?
And she had the little yellow and green outfit on as well. So
the crowd were heavily into it, though, weren't they? There was a lot of support for her. The crowd were quite patient, weren't they? Because obviously things didn't go 100% to plan.
No, and there was one horrific looking spot by the guardrail where I think they did some kind of, it was suplex. It was on the other side, so I didn't get a great look at it. I think Millie suplexed Kaylee onto it, and her leg just smashed into the guardrail.
Yeah, that did not look comfortable at all. Had a bit of a chop fest as well. Both girls chopping each other. Kaylee taking her top off, the shirt off. Sorry, she did have a bra on. Lots of chops. Millie hit a couple of big looking dives to the outside as well. Kaylee Ray picked up the win, but this was good. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was fine.
It was nice to see the crowd behind some debuting people, which was always good.
Yeah.
Which led us to the main event, which we were worried that we might have to miss because of transport issues, as time was getting on by the time we got to this main event, which was, as we said earlier, it's the six-way: Chris Brooks, Travis Banks, Lycos, Pete Dunne, Trent Seven, and Tyler Bate. This was one just very, very long spot, wasn't it, essentially?
It was, yeah. Lots of comedy in there. Mm-hmm. Lots of...
The three British Strong Style guys doing Triple H's entrance with the water and all the rest of it. Lots of comedy. Lots of hard hitting, lots of flying around. Yeah. Tyler Bate is something else, isn't he?
Yeah.
Everything that guy does, his transitions are so good. Yeah. He's so smooth at everything that he does. He's so athletic for quite a thick dude. Like, he's not the tallest, but he's a very thick guy. He's tremendous.
Last time I saw them at Fight Club Pro, it was when the weekend where the Elite were there, and it was Mustache Mountain or British Strong Style against the Elite. And Trent's very good. I really like Trent, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's quite up to the level of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate.
No, I don't think so.
But Dunne and Bate were every bit as good as the Bucks and Kenny Omega were. Everything that they did, it was just so crisp, so clean.
And we had a world title change. The second show that we've seen CCK had second title match that
I think you're there. Good luck, John.
I think so, because Chris Brooks won the championship.
He certainly did.
When he and Lycos turned on Travis Banks. There were a couple of sort of 3 versus 3 spots in there, weren't there? And a couple of 3 versus 1 spots with CCK onto Tyler Bate, I think. But yeah, Chris Brooks picked up the win. Crowd went crazy at the result.
Stunned. And then
and a big reaction. This was really, really good as well. Second best match on the show.
Yeah, like you say, it was because it was lots of quite spotty, and there was a little bit more comedy than there was in the four-way. It wasn't just quite as compact as the four-way was, which is what you're always going to get with the six-way, aren't you? But it was very good, and again, nice to see a title change, a world title change.
World title change, yeah. And the crowd went crazy. I was looking on Twitter reactions afterwards. People seemed very, very excited about Chris Brooks winning the belt.
Yeah.
He will only be there for a short period of time, though. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets picked up.
You would think so. He's a tall lad. He could still fill out a bit, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was great. If you get the chance to go and see Fight Club Pro, go and see them or watch them on demand, because they're really exciting promotion.
Yeah. And Chris Brooks as well, somebody who likes being a heel.
Yes.
He's not trying to get anyone to cheer him. People cheer him because he's good, but he's a heel.
He spat water on us.
You did.
That's how much of a heel he is.
You did. A bastard.
But this
skinny bastard.
Tall, skinny bastard who's a world champion.
He is.
I think they've got title belts in about 4 or 5 different promotions now, CCK, all told. But this was excellent. Really, really good stuff. I would watch it on demand if I had the chance.
Yes.
A good show.
I think so, yeah.
So we may or may not be going to see them again next month when they run in Wolverhampton again in July.
Yeah, we'll have to check the travel arrangements again this time.
Which
doesn't
easy.
help when they run over.
No, they said they wanted to finish the show by 11. It was getting on for 11:30, wasn't it, by the time that everything wrapped up?
Yeah, almost, yeah.
So yeah,
which basically means you missed the last everything. So
yeah, so we had to kind of run from the building to make sure we got our coach back home. But this was a really good show. Thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, very much so.
A bit of a change of pace now from modern day stuff to we're going back in time 16 years to the invasion.
People say these days you get the same matches every week on Raw and rematches after rematches. It was the same back then.
It really was. 16 years ago. Yeah,
yes.
16 years
2001.
of the same shit. And the same problems that keep cropping up with WWE now, which we will come to as the show goes on. So these shows were both from June. The first one, 11th of June 2011, from Richmond, Virginia. I had a love-hate relationship with this show. It felt to me like there was 2 shows in one show.
Felt like about 5 different shows to me.
Everything involving Austin and, to a lesser extent, Kurt Angle and William Regal, fantastic.
Yeah.
Everything else, fucking terrible.
Yeah.
It just felt like there were 2 different crews writing this stuff. It couldn't have all been the same people.
It just makes you realise, really, that it kind of episodic TV for wrestling is kind of always crap.
Yeah,
but
kind of.
If you will have 1 or 2 superstars every now and again who will get people interested and raise the level and will be worth watching.
Carry it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's just up to, like, I suppose, the bookers and Vince, the writers, just to give them the platform to give them more time on the teller.
Yeah, and which, you know, like we said, there are 6 or 7 dudes who are all over these shows.
Yeah.
Some of them are entertaining, some of them
Less so.
But we will get to that as we go throughout the show. The first one, like I say, 11th of June, from Richmond, Virginia. And the show opened with William Regal coming out in a lovely, nice 3-piece suit, smiling and waving to the crowd, who booed him vociferously, which I thought was rather rude.
Well, Heyman pointed out, though, that the crowd wasn't booing. They were chanting Regal.
That's very true. They weren't chanting Boo Earns.
No.
I was chanting Boo Earns.
You was. But it's very similar to Regal.
It is kind of.
And Boo Earns.
It is a little bit. But he is the goodwill ambassador from the UK, isn't he? Which it says on his Titantron. And these uncouth Americans booing him, which I was very upset about. William Regal wanted to know where all the sportsmanship and decency had gone, which I thought was a fine question.
Absolutely.
Showed footage from SmackDown last week of Benoit and Jericho beating Austin and Vince for the Tag Team Championships. And he said the match would be forever tainted by the appalling tactics that Benoit had used to beat Austin. Benoit rolled him up and grabbed a big handful of tights and exposed Austin's very untanned backside. He had a white bum, and the rest of him was very, very tanned.
You got a problem with that?
No, it's the old Flair stuff, isn't it? Of having the very on-show white bum. I thought that was quite good. A nice angle. He said, "Shame on you, Chris Benoit," which I agreed with for many reasons. He said Benoit's tactics were foul and disgusting, and he chastised him for promoting nudity. I thought here the crowd chanted either for Benoit or Foley, or they might have been chanting asshole at Regal. It was quite hard to tell.
I thought there was an asshole chant, but
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of all of them.
It probably was, and it was good to hear the crowd were very, very into this opening promo. Regal said that if Benoit and Jericho were what it meant to be champions in the WWF, he might stand down as commissioner, which got the crowd very excited. But he said he wasn't going to resign because he believed that sportsmanship and good manners would triumph in the end. And I fist pumped in the living room. I was very pleased. It's what you want to hear from a babyface.
Absolutely.
William Regal's a babyface in my mind. No matter what he does, he's the best good guy on earth. But this, for some reason, made the crowd chant for Foley. All he wants is sportsmanship and decency.
He said that tomfoolery may have gone on with other commissioners' tenures, but he won't stand for it. So I think that was kind of the key to the...
That wasn't yet, though. He didn't say that just yet.
Oh, did he not?
No, he didn't. He announced some matches for this evening. He was punishing Jericho and Benoit. Jericho was signed for a handicap match against Big Show and Rhino. And then Chris Benoit would face, quote, a man who abhors foul play as much as I do, Kurt Angle. And he announced it in a steel cage, and they had a really cool shot looking up at the top of the arena with the steel cage looming, which added a sense of drama to the occasion.
Well, Big Show just seems to be everyone's punishment.
Yes, he does. Yes.
If you're naughty, you do something wrong, or you're going to get Big Show.
Yep,
and you're probably going to beat him as well.
Well, most people do, don't they?
They tend to.
Unless you're going for a championship, in which case you don't. Regal noted that both Jericho and Benoit had wins over Austin in tag matches, but that didn't mean they deserved a singles match at the main event. In the main event at the King of the Ring, and this is where he said he didn't want tomfoolery in the WWF, which I think is fair enough. Who wants tomfoolery? So. The answer to that is Mick Foley, who came out to a great reaction. The crowd heavily into Creepy Mick. He was there to introduce a special guest, however, that wasn't Mick Foley. Regal interrupted him and called out security to escort Foley away, whilst calling him a foul, disgusting, miserable pillock, which I was hooting with laughter at that. William Regal is the best thing ever. He told security to take Michael away. Instead of security, however, we got Linda McMahon.
And the cool WrestleMania song entrance music.
Which just did not fit at all with her character, did it?
No, not in the slightest.
I don't think this was the music that they played live, though. I don't think this was Linda's music.
I thought this has always been her tune.
I thought she had something different. I always thought she had different music.
I always thought it was the old WrestleMania song.
It was great. It was brilliant to hear the old WrestleMania music, but it didn't fit Linda's character, did it?
Slam Jam, maybe?
I would have thought the sound of crickets and people falling asleep would have suited Linda's character. Linda, this basically went on forever when Linda was out there, and it was very, very boring. The crux of Linda's promo was she ordered the title match at the pay-per-view to be Austin versus Jericho versus Benoit. It took about an hour to announce, and by the time they did announce it, the crowd was absolutely dead. Which is quite impressive considering how into it they were at the start of all this.
Yeah.
And Regal, kind of under duress, agreed to the match.
Yeah.
This sucked.
It was 15 or 20 minutes, however long it was, of your life that you're never going to get back again.
Yep. But up until Mick Foley coming out, this was great.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. Ace.
But that was only about 2 minutes of.
That is true. William Regal is the best. We come back from commercial with Christian and Edge backstage. No, we didn't. We came back to Edge and Rhino backstage, the hardcore champion. Christian came in moaning about having to face Kane in a King of the Ring qualifier. Edge told him that he'd be there to help him out. Christian was very annoyed and said, a lot of help you were last week, because obviously Christian got beat last week, didn't he, in another qualifier. And Christian stormed off in one direction. Edge said, he might be my brother, but he sure can be a bitch sometime. And then left in the opposite direction to the direction that Christian left in, which is a key point for in a minute. Kane and Christian then, in the King of the Ring qualifier, Kane came out first with his ugly, tiny Intercontinental Championship. This belt is the worst. I hated this belt.
It's not the best looking belt I've ever had.
But they got rid of it eventually and brought back the proper IC belt, which The Miz proudly carries now, but this belt was terrible. And then Edge and Christian came out together. Now, obviously, the previous segment was a pre-tape, but are we supposed to believe that they kind of stormed off in opposite directions all the way around the building, met up, and then came out together in the space of about 2 minutes?
They just went opposite sides around the camera.
Do you think?
Yeah.
But the camera wasn't in their way.
Or maybe there's a big bench in the locker room or something they walked around the opposite sides of.
Maybe. But maybe they could have told us that. Because they stormed off very deliberately in opposite directions.
Why would they tell you that?
Because I want continuity and things to make sense, damn it.
You're asking far too much.
I am asking far too much in wrestling, unfortunately. But so yeah, we had Christian and Kane. Kane hit a big tree slam and missed an elbow drop. He did hit a tilt-a-whirl slam and a big boot on Christian. He went up top to hit that jumping clothesline thing that he does, and he hit it, covered Christian, but Edge broke up the pin. Kane then went to hit a choke slam on Christian, but Edge got on the apron and distracted the ref. Christian charged Kane, who missed, which caused Christian to run into Edge on the apron. This allowed Kane to hit the choke slam, but as he went for the cover, Edge got in the ring and distracted the ref again, because we needed 2 distractions. Albert ran in and killed Kane with the tree slam. Christian then picked up the win and qualifies for the King of the Ring. JR was disgusted by all of this. JR's disgust was a common recurring theme throughout this show, but he was not down with this.
Well, he can be disgusted, but he got paid to call that match.
That is very, very true. This again, we picked up on this last week, and they're in full. Even though it's the post-Russo era, they're in full Russo retard era, aren't they?
Yeah.
Where every segment has to have 9 million things going on. We had to have 2 distractions of the ref in the opening match with an outside interference finish, because everything has to be just throw stuff at the wall.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, we got Christian qualifying, so yay! We come back from a commercial break, and Steve Austin is arriving backstage with Deborah. He ordered Deborah to carry his belt, which is always great, because Steve Austin is the best. They ran into Foley and Linda in the sort of parking lot, and Austin went mental at Linda, saying that she makes people miserable. Doesn't she just? She made me very miserable. Me and Austin,
after the WrestleMania music died down, definitely.
Me and Austin on the same page. Mick then went off at Austin for being rude to both Deborah and Linda. Austin told Linda that she didn't deserve $500 million of Vince's money. And then Mick told Austin about the triple threat of the pay-per-view. Austin went crazy again, throwing stuff around, and he called Mick a son of a bitch. He
told Linda that she's got no business being here and to go back home and scrub some pots and pans.
That's because Austin is the best. I know everyone gets on Austin for this period, and in terms of business and all the rest of it, it probably wasn't the best idea, but this version of Steve Austin is so entertaining.
It's the most entertaining that I've ever seen. Him on these shows that we've been watching, it's just phenomenal stuff.
He's great.
And so many times as well, you'll notice this episode and the next one and what we're seeing, he'll just be corpsing. He'll be laughing and he'll be trying to stop himself as the camera pans to him.
The segment on the show that you'll be calling later on with Tajiri, when he's offering him advice, the look on Austin's face all throughout that is just gold.
Yeah.
It's Steve Austin, good. Who'd thunk it? This leads us to our second match of the evening, which is the Hardys versus X Factor, which this week is Just Incredible and X-Pac.
Speaking of rematch after rematch and everyone fighting each other.
We have no Eddie this week with the Hardys when he came out. I was thinking, is he fired at this point? But apparently not.
I think Eddie's in rehab at this time.
Yes. Jeff is a new light heavyweight champion, apparently. He won that on the last SmackDown, which we haven't seen. Eddie's injured. JR talked us through a video of Albert throwing Eddie out of the ring on SmackDown, and he injured his knee. His right knee. But Mexicans working the other side and all the rest of it. Even though he's not Mexican. The match begins with X-Pac and Matt in the ring. They get the heat on Matt. X-Pac went for the Bronco Buster and Matt moved. Just Incredible went to hit a baseball slide dropkick, and he also got out of the way of that, which allowed Matt to get the hot tag to Jeff. Jeff ran wild and hit poetry in motion on both of the heels. He went for the swanton, but Just Incredible broke it up. The referee was, of course, again distracted, which allowed Lita to hit a Hurricane Rana off the top to X-Pac, and Jeff hit the swanton for the win. The finish was really well done. The crowd were heavily into it. They really liked Lita doing the Hurricane Rana and all the rest of it. But the match was just kind of there, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's fine.
Nothing to it.
It wasn't given time to be bad, which is a theme with a lot of these things. But somehow some of them still manage it. After the match, the Hardys the heels beat up the Hardys, with a chair. As JR says, concussion city after a chair shot to, I think it was Jeff, which is lovely stuff. Because we need lots more concussion references. Backstage, Austin storms into Regal's office and screams at him for booking the title match at the pay-per-view. Regal blamed it on Vince and his marital problems. And Tajiri said something in Japanese, so Austin beat the shit out of him and called him a son of a bitch. The crowd really enjoyed it, but they ruined Mr. Regal's office, which I was very upset about.
They did.
But Regal's office always gets trashed, doesn't it?
He's very upset later on in the show as well, isn't he?
He certainly is. Steve Blackman and Trish had a horrendous meeting backstage. Trish walked up and said, "Hey Blackman," which I enjoyed because last week she called him Steve when talking to Terry, and we didn't know who the hell she was on about. There's no confusing it this week. She's on about Steve Blackman.
Yeah.
Trish is going to be in Blackman's corner in his match against Perry Saturn later on this evening, which I think was a King of the Ring qualifier, wasn't it?
Probably.
Why not? Seems like it would be. They talked about the bra and panties match from last week. Blackman said he studied it intently, but then he acted all embarrassed. Trish wasn't embarrassed at all, and this was awkward and terrible.
Yeah, he was watching it for the wrestling moves.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what he was watching it for.
Yeah, tits and that. Jericho and Benoit were then backstage talking. Jericho said if he won the championship at King of the Ring, he'd give Benoit the first shot. Benoit said the same. They both agreed that they give it their all in the match. And Benoit said that Austin was going to get some payback at King of the Ring. So Austin's going to beat them up. That doesn't make any sense, but maybe they do. Then more backstage talking. This is like a segment from Impact with the amount of backstage stuff. Molly and Spike were backstage. Neither of them can act. It was really horribly scripted and really badly acted, strangely enough. Basically, Spike said he won't fight Molly in their 6-person tag match later on. They were about to kiss when the Dudleys broke it up. Bubba grabbed Spike by the hair and pulled him away, and Devon told Molly that he was going to put her through a table later. Lovely stuff. More talking, but this was entertaining talking, at least, because it's Austin and Vince. Austin shouted at Vince for letting his stupid wife sign the 3-way at the pay-per-view. He said it's a conspiracy. This paranoid heel Austin is fantastic.
Yeah.
Vince said he didn't know a damn thing about it, and Vince said he wanted to discuss it in the dressing room and tried to leave. Austin yelled at Vince, saying, "Don't you dare walk away from me." And Austin then stared at Vince for a very long time and looked like he was about to murder him. Vince was great here, looking terrified, thinking he was about to get stunned into next year. Instead, Austin grabbed him for a huge hug and had a kind of 1,000-yard stare, like he is affected. He'd seen stuff. They carried on hugging each other as the segment ended. Vince and Austin are just, every time they're on screen, they just completely stand out.
Yeah,
they're the best thing ever.
Best thing on the show by an absolute mile on every show that we've seen so far.
I will argue there might be something actually better in this episode than Austin and Vince.
There is one. Well,
we'll get to it.
Okay, yeah, there is.
So that was 5 straight backstage segments.
Actually, I think there's probably 2 things better than Austin and Vince in this episode. But
well, we'll see. We shall see. We then, after the backstage segment, we have a clip of Jericho and Angle from last year's King of the Ring. Angle was tapping as Steph tried to distract the ref, and then Jericho kissed Steph as she tried to fight him off. Wouldn't fly today, unless Ric Flair's involved.
Of course, then
these things happen.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho then versus Rhino and the Big Show. Right. As we covered, Jericho and Benoit are going for the championship in 6 days, in 2 weeks at the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. Jericho loses clean to Rhino in this match.
It's a handicap match, though.
I know they're trying to tell the story of, if 2 people team up, they can't win, and it's telling the story from Austin's perspective, kind of, because if Jericho and Benoit team up, Austin's got no chance. But why are we beating people when they're going for the belt?
It was a handicap match against the largest athlete in the world, and somebody who was on his 3rd match in the company after being the last ECW champion. Okay,
but if we've had this previously, where Hunter, I know it's Hunter, so it's an extreme example, has beaten the world tag team champions on his own.
But that's a bad thing. You should be losing in handicap matches to 2 good opponents.
But you shouldn't
be beating the tag team champions on your own.
But you shouldn't
this is
be
the
beating.
Good side of things.
You shouldn't be beating one of your 2 number 1 contenders 2 weeks before a pay per view where they're going for the belt. When you're trying to get heat behind 2 dudes, ratings are going down. There's no Rock, he's away filming films. There's no Hunter, he's out injured. You're trying to raise these dudes up and have them as be credible contenders for the championship. So you beat them.
Yeah, but you've still got 3 shows before the King of the Ring, the 2 SmackDowns and the Raw, which they are all over.
But would you not want them to be all over those shows on a roll with momentum, winning matches?
But the natural thing, Linda's come out and she's made this match. So the initial reaction should be, well, okay, let's try and beat the shit out of Jericho and Benoit as much as we can before the King of the Ring. What can we do to do that?
Yeah, but logically, I'm not talking about from the booking standpoint. I'm not saying how would William Regal try and fuck with them.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking. As a general manager, that's what I'll try and do, and that's what I would think that if I was William Regal, that Vince would want me to do. Okay,
but I'm not looking at it in that perspective, because the storyline, it makes sense from that perspective, because Regal is obviously with Vince and with Austin, but from a company perspective, like the real life story of the WWF at this point.
Yeah.
They had no main eventers outside of Austin. They needed to put some heat with some people and get people going. Why did you beat them? It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. They won the tag titles. Everyone went fucking crazy. And from that point forward, they just beat them. After match after match after match.
Wins and losses don't matter though, Rich.
No, they don't. But they should, is my point. Oh, this is annoying.
If it was a regular 1-on-1, yeah, absolutely fine. It was like a 4 or 5 minute handicap match against two monsters.
So it's a... it's why would... anyway. So yeah, Jericho loses clean.
Let us know, listeners, what you think at both these guys.
Yeah, at both these guys, please do. Jericho and Rhino go at it before the before Big Show comes out. Jericho then hits a springboard dropkick onto Show and the lion sort onto Rhino, but Big Show pulls him out of the ring when he seemingly had the match won, which was good because he kind of beat him with the lion sort, but you could argue that it's not great for Rhino considering he debuted like 3 weeks ago. Show throws Jericho into the ring, steps outside, and then press slams him back into the ring. Rhino takes over and works over Jericho. Rhino and Big Show, at one point they were working it as a tag. And they messed up a tag, and that made me laugh. They both went to slap hands and completely missed. That made me chuckle.
That was really fun.
Big Show hit a big boot and then an elbow drop. Jericho made a comeback on Rhino and hit Show on the apron. Then Show comes running in, and he hits a big chop on Jericho in the corner. Although he does that whole thing nowadays where he gets the crowd to shut up, none of that here. He just hit the big chop anyway. They whip Jericho into the corner. Rhino misses a splash. Big Show charges and accidentally splashes Rhino instead. Jericho then hits a low blow on Show as he goes for a chokeslam. Jericho then sidesteps an onrushing Rhino and throws him outside. Jericho hits a huge missile dropkick from the top onto Big Show and then goes for the walls. He gets it, but then Rhino breaks that up. Jericho gets the walls on Rhino, but instead Show grabs Jericho and hits a chokeslam. Rhino then goes for the gore and on Big Show, which... even the announcers were just like, what the hell? And then pin Jericho. JR screamed, what the hell was that? And then added that Jericho might have another concussion. Yay! More concussions. We need more concussion storylines.
What do you think's worse, the concussion storylines or the sexual harassment storylines?
It's Sophie's choice, isn't it? You can flip a coin in either direction. They're both pretty horrible. What about you?
I think they both are great.
It's like Russo's back though, isn't it? Where we have to have two storylines exactly the same running throughout the show. Yeah. Then we went backstage and we had Shane McMahon sneaking into the building, which I really liked. He pulls up in his limo and then kind of does like a Razor Ramon walk into the building whilst he's trying to sneak about. And he met with Kane. He told him that he had nothing to do with Undertaker's wife's stalker, although he did point out that Kurt Angle had a history of messing with other people's wives. There was weird crowd reactions during this, like they were watching something else. They were kind of reacting at different points to what you would think they would. It was strange. And then Shane asks Kane to say hi to Undertaker for him, which made me laugh. Cole interviewed Rhino backstage. Rhino said now that he's beaten Jericho 3 times straight, if Jericho does win the belt at the pay-per-view, he should be the number 1 contender. That's a good point.
Well, that's it. Well, it is a good point. And he explains why he goes on to gore the Big Show, so he could get the pin over Jericho. Mm-hmm. But if he was really that smart, he was the legal man anyway, so he no need to have gored the Big Show. He could have just got the pin, and he no need to have pissed off the Big Show as well.
So you're saying then that Paul Heyman was wrong, because they cut back to Paul Heyman, and he was laughing about it, and he said, that's not just Rhino, he's a smart Rhino. So you're saying he's not a smart Rhino? I'm
saying that, yes, he's not a smart Rhino, because if he was, actually he might be, because who cares, it's a Big Show, he loses every week.
That is very, very true. Yeah, fine. At least they try to explain it to an extent, the pinning of Big Show, but it doesn't explain to me the gore on Big Show. But it still doesn't explain to me why Jericho's losing. But that's neither here nor there. You're wrong.
You was just saying about trying to keep Rhino strong, but nearly losing to the lion salt.
Yeah, so don't put him in the match. Just have Jericho beat Big Show.
But then you had the storyline that he's pinned him 3 times.
For my money, it's stupid. You shouldn't be beating Chris Jericho. Have Rhino beat the Big Show then. If we have to have Rhino beat somebody, have him beat Big Show.
Yeah,
that would piss.
They've got no reason to wrestle.
That would piss Big Show off.
Well, they've got a reason to wrestle now.
And I'm sure they will soon. But either way,
on SmackDown, they didn't on Raw. I'll tell you that.
No, that's very true. Although, to be fair, in the intervening shows between the two that we're reviewing, Rhino loses the Hardcore Championship. So much for keeping him strong.
Does he?
Yep.
Who too?
Someone. He comes out on the next show with no belt. JR points out that he lost it on SmackDown.
Didn't notice that bit.
We then had JR plug in another King of the Ring qualifier and the cage match for our main event later on, when he suddenly looked very confused and made a "what?" noise. We cut backstage to Jericho, who was just being looked over by a doctor, so Christ knows why JR made that noise, unless he knew what was coming. And then Austin zoomed in and attacked Jericho. He went crazy, beating him up, and called Jericho a stupid son of a bitch, which is a recurring theme on this show. This brought the Olympic hero Kurt Angle out into the arena. It's still weird hearing his music and no use of chants.
Yeah.
Still can't get used to it, although I think it's coming. It's not far off.
It can't be too far off.
I hope so, because it's great.
Yeah.
He buried Richmond, Virginia, as an Olympic hero, which he was keen to point out. He slagged off the town, their ancestors, and the amount of war reenactments that they do there, which I'm guessing Kurt doesn't like war reenactments. He said he's going to beat up Benoit tonight and threatened to snap his ankle in two. He ran down Benoit and said that his non-cheating ways were what enabled him to enter the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Kurt was fantastic in this segment. He had absolutely nothing to say. It was just a local heat segment thing to annoy the hometown crowd. But he was so entertaining doing it. He then buried the average man as the crowd loudly chanted, "You suck." He told the crowd that he doesn't suck and that he can take down any person at any given time. He's better than teachers, policemen and firemen. At wrestling, he probably is. He said he was going to win the King of the Ring again and then kick Shane McMahon's ass. He challenged Shane to come down to the ring. Undertaker came out instead to that fucking music. I hated this music. Although it changes slightly for your show, for the next show along, because they had that walking entrance thing, which they didn't have for this one. This music is just the worst. It's got to go. Undertaker was very annoyed and demanded to know if Angle knew anything about his wife. Angle said that he'd met Sarah once and he didn't even find her that attractive. So he couldn't have been the one stalking her. Oh, Kurt's the best. Taker punched him and then sort of killed him with the last ride. Curtis Angle was fabulous in this segment.
Great.
I love Kurt. We had another stalker video appear on the big screen. The Black Scorpion was in Sarah's hotel room this time, where she had an 8x10 of The Undertaker for some reason, which was folded over.
Which she left for her.
Yeah.
I suppose, just to ward off evil demons.
Absolutely, which is probably why he left the necklace and about $1 in change as well next to it. Undertaker ran off when the Black Scorpion said he knew where Sarah was. At this point, Shane snuck into the ring and gave Angle the angle slam before running off the crowd. Through the crowd to his music. Who put the music on? I want logic. Who put that music on?
Whoever's in gorilla position.
But we didn't see anybody in the production truck this week. There's no WCW dudes in the production truck. This annoyed me.
Maybe there's someone on the inside.
Maybe there is, but then tell us that. Say, we don't know who put that music on.
Maybe they control the cameras as well.
Or we found the dude who put the music on and we're now going to beat him up or fire him or something. I just want continuity. This is stupid. The first week they did it with no music, it was great.
How long have you been watching wrestling?
That's a very good question. We then had Perry Saturn versus Steve Blackman in a King of the Ring qualifier.
You're even going to bother?
This match sucked balls. This was terrible. They were on completely different pages. Saturn came out with Dean Malenko and Terry, who was wearing the shortest t-shirt that I think I've ever seen, and apparently no bra. So the story they're trying to tell, we didn't really allude to this last week. The story they're trying to tell with Perry Saturn is that he's had too many hits to the head and it sent him crazy, which is lovely. Blackman came out with Trish, who JR noted had offered Blackman her services backstage. Heyman on commentary insinuated that Trish was sleeping with Blackman or performing other services for him. Lovely. There was a Raja WWF sign in the crowd, which was my first wrestling website. I enjoyed that. I was looking for anything to entertain me during this match because this was terrible and it was only a few minutes long.
Should have just gone on your phone.
Blackman hit a spine buster, which got Terry up on the apron to distract the ref. Trish then traced Terry outside, but Terry was able to get behind Dean Malenko and hide behind him. In the ring, Blackman did that stupid little fight dance thing that he does and says that it's party time. He then hit a belly to belly.
Yeah, it's party time.
What a rubbish party. So if you go to Steve Blackman's parties, he's just going to belly to belly you.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. That sounds rubbish.
Well, if Trish was there.
That's true, and Bailey probably would be there. She's a big fan of Steve Blackman, isn't she? She was watching him in before the
inspired her.
Yeah, before the match.
And she likes
Alexa.
belly to bellies.
She does like belly to bellies, or belly to Baileys, or Bailey to belly. I never know which one it is.
Bailey to Bella.
Bailey to belly.
Belly to Bailey. Oh, no.
That
You don't see it anymore anyway, do
you
you?
certainly don't. Yeah, what? Again, I know they've killed her dead, but losing to Nia Jax in like 3 minutes, whatever it was, in that stupid gauntlet thing on Raw. She's done. She's done. Anyway.
No, she's going to win the belt from Sasha at SummerSlam.
I really hope not. Dean then got on the apron to distract Blackman after hitting the belly to Bailey or whatever it was. Saturn dropped Blackman across the ropes and hit a fisherman suplex for the win. That was it. that was the end. Trish attacked Terry after the match. Dean went to hit Trish with the kendo stick, which is great, but Blackman got it off him. Blackman then hit Saturn in the head with the kendo stick after the match. This was all terrible. Terrible.
Horrible segment. There wasn't as much fun this week as there was last week.
No, there certainly wasn't.
I mean, I'm sure they was just trying to get everything ready for the King of the Ring, but even so...
Yeah, there was some horse shit on this show.
The stuff that was good was great.
Yes.
But there was no medium ground.
No, there wasn't. It was
on either show.
It was gold or shit.
Yeah.
And we next had a gold segment backstage.
Yes.
We cut backstage to Austin, who's in his dressing room, double face palming backstage. He was very, very stressed. So Deborah tried to calm him down by offering him a carrot from a platter of fruits and vegetables.
Deborah asked him, "Are you behaving this way because you're hungry?" Because I know when I'm hungry, I'm always getting very erratic.
Yeah, it's hangry, isn't it?
Oh.
As my wife always says, she's hangry when she's hungry. Steve didn't want a carrot though.
No, or broccoli.
He didn't want broccoli either, which is crazy because broccoli's great.
Even raw broccoli.
Yeah, I don't mind a bit of raw broccoli.
Something wrong with
Steve needs to be eating his greens. I'm concerned about him here. All he wants instead is the triple threat to be cancelled. He then goes mental at Deborah, eating carrots and broccoli before throwing the platter at the wall. As JR shouted at the end of this segment, "My God, he snapped." as if he just walloped somebody with a steel chair. This was great.
This was the moment he snapped.
Yeah,
by throwing food at a wall. This was the moment.
Yeah, this was the bit that tipped him over the edge. Another backstage segment, which was the Hollies having a little bit of a chat. Molly asked them not to hurt Spike tonight in the 6-person tag match. Crash and Hardcore both said that she was only a little girl and that she doesn't really know how she feels. And they said the only way that Spike was going to survive is if Molly pinned him. Then we had another gold segment backstage. There's so much backstage stuff, though. It's very...
It's better than anything that's in the ring.
That's true. Well, until the main event. Regal was surveying the scene in his office backstage. His teacup was broken. He said, "Look at my knob, it's completely useless." Which I think was his doorknob, but...
I thought it was a gavel or something.
Oh, it might have been a gavel. It was completely useless, though, his knob. Yeah. And he was very forlorn about it.
With his teacup, he looked at his teacup and he said, "Oh, Mrs. Thatcher gave me that."
Again, he's making jokes to entertain himself and like 7 people in America that were English and watching this show. Terry, Dean and Terry's nipples then burst into the office.
The look that Regal gives Terry.
Mm-hmm. Because William Regal, he knows what it's about, doesn't he? He's just really pure pantomime stuff from Regal all the time, and he's fabulous. It's just the best. Terry said Saturn was going crazy because of all of the headshots, and Dean shouted, "He's nuts," to Regal. She begged him to give them SmackDown off. She said Dean had a date lined up, and so they could go and have a double date or something to give Terry some time to recuperate. Regal was cool with this idea, gave them SmackDown off. And Perry walked in and said that British people fight dragons so they don't get all fiery. Now, William Regal, at this point, his character is... He's a villain still, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he's kind of slapstick at the same time.
Yeah.
He's kind of he's the comic relief a lot of the time in this segment. And he just kind of looked off thoughtfully into the middle distance, sort of chuckled a little bit and said, "Yes, I suppose we do." Which I was crying laughing at that. William Regal is the best.
The bit where Terry come up to his desk, Regal sitting down, Terry standing up, and he looks Terry in the eyes, and then he deliberately looks down at her chest and then looks back up into her eyes. The way it's done, it's just so good.
His comic timing is fabulous.
Yeah.
So yeah, then after they had the agreement from Mr. Regal, Perry and Terry left, and Dean shouted, "This is what I have to live with." So they all live together. Dean, Terry and Perry, as a group, all live in the same house.
Like the Monkeys or something like that.
Maybe they do.
I don't know.
Yeah, they've never said they haven't, so I'm going to presume that they do. William Regal was the best here. Just the best. This led us to a match, an actual wrestling match. The Dudleys versus the Hollies for the 9,000th time. As I said in my notes here, I'm so bored with this storyline. The match was rubbish, and it was all built around the the Molly and Spike love affair.
Is that like a Brangelina? There's Mike.
Yeah, I'm shipping them. I know about shipping because my wife talks about shipping all the time. Yeah,
is that what it's called?
It's when you combine the two characters in a romance through popular culture, it's shipping apparently.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so apparently Molly was fair game in this match and could be in the ring against everybody. Hardcore tagged Molly in straight away to fake Spike, but Spike wouldn't do anything to Molly. Hardcore hit Spike from behind and tagged himself in. They kind of got the heat on Spike, sort of, a little bit. Crash tagged in, went up top to hit something, but Spike crushed him on the ropes. Spike tagged in Devon, they broke down into a 4-way. Dudley's hit the What's Up spot on Hardcore Holly, hit the 3D on Crash for the win. They continue to brawl after the match. Hardcore hits the ring after the bell and goes after Bubba. They end up brawling out onto the apron, and then for some reason they just decide to fall through the table that's set up outside.
Yeah.
And the crowd, who'd been going crazy for table spots throughout the match, just all kind of went, huh, and didn't really react to any of it.
I still don't understand why table spots are so popular and why it still gets chance to this day.
I don't get it either. I was watching watching NXT this week with the awesome women's last woman standing match with Asuka and Nikki Cross, and the crowd were dead for most of this match for reasons that I don't understand, because it was fucking great. And the only time they reacted was at the end, where they got a table out and then they really got into it. It's like, what's wrong with you idiots? Like, this is a really strong match. These two women are awesome, and they just kind of sat on their hands until a table came out. Very odd. So they just kind of timbered through the table, which was very strange. After the match, in the ring, Spike finally gave Molly a big kiss, just like Brad Pitt and what's her name, says JR.
Yeah.
So is that presumably that's Jennifer Aniston?
I'd guess so. Yeah.
I'd have thought. I love JR, but I take issue with that. Jennifer Aniston is not what's her name. She's the best.
Maybe he doesn't know what her actual name is.
No, that's
He doesn't
true.
come across as a huge Friends fan.
Do you not think?
Or anything else that she's ever
She
done.
was a big thing in popular culture for a while there, though. 2001, Friends and all that.
In 2001?
Friends was going on from like 94 onwards.
No, I remember it going on back then. I didn't know it was still on in 2001.
Ran for 10 years, didn't it? I think. Something like that.
You think you know very
Either, either way,
he thinks.
either way, Jennifer Aniston is not what's her name.
To JR, she is.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
You and JR, okay.
The crowd were very happy with the kiss. They were heavily into it. JR then shouted, "They love each other. What's wrong with that? We could use some love around here." So he got into it as well. So good for him.
Spike and what's her name?
Spike and what's her name? Yes. We then had clips of Hunter's rehab. Again, this is all on the DVD. Hunter's going to be coming back to be the champion, apparently. It's amazing. It's still amazing that this is the same company that brought Seth Rollins back from a similar injury as a heel. It's incredible the way they did this.
Be interesting to see how long these segments carry on for, though, because he's out a while.
Yes, he is.
And this has just been 2 weeks. And he's had 2 segments.
They don't think it. I think they think he comes back. He's coming back quicker than he does, because there was a big hoop. I wasn't there. He was announced for a pay-per-view before, because he came back on a Monday Night Raw, didn't he? And the crowd went absolutely bonkers.
No idea.
Yeah, he came back on a Raw in Madison Square Garden before the Rumble, and the crowd went absolutely fucking bananas when he came back. But they announced him for a pay-per-view like a couple of months earlier, and just didn't turn up, and there was a lot of very unhappy people. But I think they think this isn't as bad as it is. But yeah, absolutely, it'll be interesting to see how long this goes on for. JR said on the commentary that Hunter's the best, and he will come back from injury as the best ever.
Yeah.
The storyline, according to Paul Heyman, is that Hunter made a mistake in the tag match, and he wouldn't want to be in Hunter's shoes when Austin's around, because he's going to beat him up, presumably.
I'd have thought so. Beats everyone else up.
He does, and he calls him a son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
He then cut to Test at WWF New York.
This was the thing.
This certainly was a thing. He was wearing like an orange jumpsuit shirt thing. I don't know what it was. It was about 4 sizes too big for Test, which Test's a big dude, so that's quite impressive. Yeah. JR asked if he was going to join WCW, which I thought was a bit weird. He then called Steph a slut, essentially, and said that he's good friends with Shane, so he might want to join WCW. He said Steph spent more time on her back than she does standing up. Right, for posterity, I'm no massive fan of Stephanie McMahon. Her character at this stage, she went out with Test for a bit.
Yeah.
They were going to get married. They never slept with each other, as far as we know. Then she married Hunter. That's it. She's not done anything else. She kind of had a little bit of a not affair with Kurt Angle for a while, but nothing ever came of that. As far as we know, Stephanie McMahon has slept with one person, and that's Triple H, her husband.
She was definitely shagging Test. There was on the wedding day. The wedding was there.
Yeah, but she
turned on him.
She was a good Virginia girl, and she didn't turn on him.
Did they say that she was a good Virginia girl?
She wore white on her wedding day.
Oh, okay then.
She didn't turn on Test at that stage. She was married in secret to Hunter, wasn't she? Because Hunter.
Yeah, but it was a real wedding. But he didn't know, did he?
Hunter drugged her.
Yeah, but he didn't know, did he?
He did in storyline. He did.
Yeah, he didn't.
Hunter drugged her because he's diabolical. She slept with one person.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I just thought this was a bit harsh.
While she was awake.
On Steph, I thought, bloody Test. He can bugger off to WCW if that's how he's going to be about it all.
He's been burned.
He has been burned by Triple H, but not by Stephanie. Just saying. We then had a recap of Austin's night of paranoia and misery. This was fabulous. And it led us to the main event, which was Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle in a cage match. Austin came out to do commentary, and this, for my money, is the best segment on the show.
I would say yes, mainly for Austin's commentary.
Yeah, well, for my money, it's the bit before Austin's commentary is the best. Austin comes out and he has a great exchange with JR.
Yeah.
Austin's running his mouth and threatens to knock JR out. JR was just staring at him in disgust. And he asked Austin what was wrong with him. Heyman, throughout all of this, looked absolutely terrified. He then face-palmed in absolute terror as JR carried on kind of provoking Austin.
Austin said to him, "Don't look at me like that, you little bastard."
Yeah, he called him a little bastard a couple of times. Heyman was afraid for his health. He was baffled that JR would risk his own health in provoking Austin and also trying to be respectful to Austin at the same time, which it's a series of very complicated emotions to kind of express at the same time. Mm-hmm. This was fabulous. I know I say it every show anyway, but JR is just the absolute best ever. Heyman looked like he was going to have a heart attack throughout the whole thing. It's a 7-star moment for me, this whole segment. Austin continued to fuck with JR as Benoit and Angle made their entrances, like daring him to stare at him, daring him to say something that he shouldn't.
During Angle's entrance, as he's coming down the ramp, Austin said, "I hate it when these guys have their little sparklers and explosions."
Again, you would say that Austin is just trying to entertain himself, isn't he? But he's so great at it.
There's a bit here where the camera cuts to them and you can see, I think there's a bit where he calls him a little bastard. He's like virtually just splitting his sides laughing.
He's daring JR to laugh as well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But JR kind of got his own back on him slightly when Benoit was coming out, where he told Austin that in 13 days he could be champion. Austin didn't take too kindly to that. Angle jumped Benoit at the bell and proceeded to beat the absolute shit out of him to no crowd reaction whatsoever. They didn't care at all about this to begin with. Kurt hit a series of big overhead suplexes. Benoit countered and tried to go for the crossface, but Kurt blocked it. Angle then threw Benoit into the cage twice. Some hard chops by Benoit in the corner. To which Austin said, "I hate those knife-edge chops." And I believe that he did definitely hate those chops.
Yes, I think he did.
Angle retaliated and launched Benoit into the cage face first and then worked Benoit over. Benoit fought back with some more chops and some awesome-looking snap suplexes. Kurt countered with 3 gut-wrench suplexes of his own. Angle tried to climb out and Benoit gave him a German off the top rope. This was fucking horrible. Angle landed right on his shoulder, which looked really, really bad. And the crowd didn't react at all again. No. Not a single reaction. Angle then hit an elbow off the top rope as Austin pleaded with Kurt to pin Benoit. Angle was great here. Austin was great here.
You can see the moment when they did the German from the top rope. Austin all of a sudden stops talking and stares at them, and he's like, "Oh, shit's getting serious."
They get the game face on at that point. He's pleading with Kurt to pin him. Yeah. Benoit sort of countered and took over, throwing Kurt into the cage over and over and over again. Benoit started to climb, but Kurt hit a low blow on Benoit, who was on the top rope. Then Kurt hit an angle slam and tried to escape. He totally should have pinned him, I wrote in my notes. And as I typed that, Austin said, "Angle's an idiot, he should have pinned him." Which he definitely should have, but he didn't. Benoit cut him off. Kurt climbed to the very, very top of the cage and missed his moonsault because that's what Kurt Angle does. Yeah. That moonsault is terrifying.
Lovely looking moonsault.
Absolutely is. Has he ever actually hit that moonsault?
I don't think so.
It would probably kill
as he
whoever
bounces, the bump he takes, it's just... It looks sickening and it's fabulous.
It is, and it would probably kill somebody if he actually ever did land it. Crowd then had kind of a light chant of holy shit, but not really. Benoit took over, hit a series of knee lifts, but Kurt came off and started to work him over again. Benoit countered this and hit, kind of more or less in a row, 9 German suplexes. Austin on commentary was absolutely horrified by these German suplexes, which he'd been on the receiving end of in the SmackDown tag match.
Well, JR said to him about the 10 Germans, you're commenting on Austin taking them, and Austin says, "You think that's funny? You know what it felt like? It hurt like a bastard."
Oh, Steve Austin's the best. Benoit was about to climb out when Austin leapt up off the commentary table, grabbed a chair and threatened to beat the shit out of him if he went over the stage. Austin was going bonkers here. So then Benoit hit a diving headbutt off the very top of the cage onto Angle, which, watching these things in retrospect, is just...
Yeah.
Austin threw down the ref outside, the one that was guarding the cage door, and tried to hold it shut, but Benoit kicked it in his face hard. Austin took a great bump, which it looked a bit painful. In the ring, Angle recovered and applied the ankle lock, but Benoit hit an enziguri to escape. Benoit tried to climb out, but Angle slammed the door in his face, and Angle climbed out of the cage on the other side of the ring for the win. Is Benoit not going for the belt as well? Why are we beating Benoit? And this was a great match.
It was a very good match.
A retarded finish.
Well, yeah, but again, you've got interference finish. Benoit was on the way to winning, would have climbed out the cage and won, but Austin would have beat the shit out of him with a chair, so he decided to try and inflict a bit more punishment. He then would have escaped the cage through the door, but again, Austin interfered.
It's down in the record books, though, isn't it? As a defeat for Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Going into his World Championship match.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see number one contenders getting beat. That's all.
And he got the loser's share of the purse, which is always terrible.
Absolutely, it is. After the match, Austin got into the ring and beat the fuck out of Benoit with chair shots. Nothing to the head, thankfully, but he beat the crap out of him. And Austin left with Benoit in a heap. JR on commentary again was fabulous. Called Austin a sick son of a bitch, as he did his best to try and make you think that Austin's days were numbered. He said that his reign of horror would end in 13 days at the pay-per-view. The booking of Jericho and Benoit, for me, left a lot to be desired on this show. Overall, I thought this was a pretty crappy episode of Raw. Nothing as good as the last 2 weeks.
Not we've seen. No.
But the Angle, Austin, Benoit stuff was good, and William Regal's fabulous.
Yeah, Austin on commentary. Some of the other things he said, calling JR Hillbilly Boy and Football Boy. One bit he said about Kurt, I hope he kicks the living crap out of Benoit. I hate that little snaggletooth bastard. Can I go on record with that? And then there's a bit where JR's goading him about, oh, you beat Benoit, didn't you? You tapped him out last week. And he goes, yeah, I beat him with his own hold. And then really smug, he goes, submission.
So again, like people sort of give this a really bad reception this time, and yeah, from a business sense of it probably didn't make much sense to turn Austin heel, but this heel character is so entertaining.
It's brilliant. You can't say enough good things about it,
and it's multifaceted as well, isn't it? Because he can do the comedy stuff, but when it comes to the physical side of it, he's great. He's Steve Austin, so you don't need me to tell you how fabulous he is. But this stuff gets a really bad reputation, but it's so much better than I thought it was going to be.
It's great. It's by far the best thing on all of the shows that we're watching. Any segment with him. Yeah, can't say enough positive things about it. So the second episode of Raw, Monday 18th of June 2001 from the Ice Palace in Tampa. This is the go-home show before the King of the Ring. So we have a recap of SmackDown. And a weird one this week, because the recap of SmackDown is possibly the best segment on the whole show.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's great. Just to briefly go over it, SmackDown had Austin getting a petition for people to sign. So he's taken his petition to all the airports I've been to, all the shopping malls all across America, and I'm going to present these to Linda McMahon, and she'll have no choice but to listen to the voice of the people and call off the triple threat match at the King of the Ring. Next cut is to Austin giving the petition to Spike, who says that he can sign it, and then his little bimbo girlfriend can sign it too. Spike asks him, what did you say? Austin replies, your little girlfriend Molly, she's a bimbo, haven't you heard? Spike goes ape shit at this, as you would expect, tears up the petition, which leads to Austin requesting a title match versus Spike for the main event of the show, SmackDown. Then the rest of the recap is showing Austin beating the crap out of SmackDown, getting ready to smack Molly with a chair, Benoit and Jericho arriving to make the save.
And Austin's got previous for this for beating up women with chairs, as we saw with Lita when him and Triple H beat the ever-loving piss out of her with the chairs.
Yeah.
This was during the two-man power trip.
I thought he was going to talk about Deborah then. It's a bit dark. So the show opens up with JR and Heyman welcoming us reminding us that we're just 6 days away from the King of the Ring, and the 4 quarter-final matches are going to take place tonight.
Boy, aren't they?
Yeah, and as well as that, Dudley Boys will challenge Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho for the Tag Team Championships in the main event. So we kick things off with the Dudley Boys music, and Spike makes his way down to the ring with Molly.
To a really good reaction.
Gets a very good reaction, yeah. Spike says in his wildest dreams he never thought he'd be challenging Steve Austin for the WWF Championship. And even though he lost, he liked it. And he would have been content with just that one moment in the sun. But that wasn't enough for Austin. He had to try and beat Molly with a chair. Spike says he's going to do something he never thought he'd do, and he calls out Austin to face him again. Heyman on commentary at this point says it's like Mickey said in Rocky, women weaken brains. It's just like that. Next we hear the glass shattering and Austin walking down to the ring. Gets on the mic, he asks Spike who the hell he thinks he is. He said it's not fair, look at you and look at me, pointing out how unfair that match would be, and starts to walk out the ring. Spike asks the crowd if they want to see the match. The crowd says yes. Austin tells them it's not happening. He gives Spike props for showing a lot of gumption and backbone and for calling him out. No one else in the back would be brave enough. But nonetheless, Molly is still a bimbo. Spike demands Austin takes it back as Molly tries to hold him back and turns to slap Austin in the face. At this point, Austin looks a little stunned.
He looked like he kind of enjoyed it as well, I thought.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I suppose if he takes it, he might like to receive as well. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Indeed. He did seem rather amused by it and tells Spike he isn't going to get a title shot, but he's earned his respect. And he even offers Spike a handshake. Now, the crowd can see what's coming, and they try and warn Spike that it might be a bit of a trap, but...
They're idiot baby faces.
Stupid baby faces.
And
stupid
Molly's a
baby
bimbo,
faces.
apparently.
Spike accepts it. Austin does pull him into the handshake, and he doesn't let him go immediately, but he does eventually. Austin then goes to offer the hand to Molly, at which point he kicks her in the stomach and give her a lovely stunner.
He did, and she took a great bump for it as well.
She really did.
Because
she hit him first.
Molly's really good.
Molly's great.
I'm thinking Spike was supposed to challenge him for the belt, wasn't he? Because Austin made several references to a title match, which Spike never mentioned. He just said he was calling Austin out. So I'm guessing somebody forgot something. This was good. This was one of the best actual segments on the show.
Well, one of the best out of all the 95 segments that was on the show. This is definitely in the top 20 or so. No, this is a really good segment, really good start to the show. Cut to a break, then we come back, we see footage of Austin walking backstage and having a stare down with the Dudley Boys. Something's going on there. They didn't say a word.
They
didn't say a word at all. Molly then, you see him getting checked out by the trainer with Spike looking on, and the Dudleys meet up with him. Bubba praises Spike for sticking up for his girlfriend and for himself, and for what was right against the WWF champion. But he says there's something wrong here. How long have you been in the company, Spike? Spike says 3 months. How long have we been in the company, Devon? Around 18 months. There's something wrong with this picture. We haven't had a title shot in a year and a half.
Which isn't true.
Was it not?
Nope. Bubba had a world title match against Kurt Angle.
What a lying bastard.
A lying shit, but he is a heel, so that's kind of fair enough. I think he's a heel.
Is he a heel?
I think so. It's difficult to tell with a lot of people on this show.
Shades of grey.
But he teamed with Austin in the main event, so I'm guessing they're heels, I think.
I guess so.
But the crowd were really into them at various points on previous shows. I don't know.
The crowd into tables, and they supply the tables.
That is very true, and they do that stupid what's up thing.
They should have a table wholesalers, because they'd make an absolute fortune. That's what
but they sell really bad tables, though, that the second you applied any weight to them,
for
they
wrestling
just
companies?
smashed.
Shit tables for wrestling companies.
Yeah, they could do, I suppose.
They could get into New Japan, because they've got some tough tables to try and smash.
They really have.
Yeah.
There was a different kind of table used in the last woman standing match in NXT. It's like a weird sort of black table. It looked completely different to the usual tables they use. I don't know, just strange.
Is it someone's coffee table?
I don't think it was a bloody big coffee table if it was. But
it?
yeah, these things happen.
Spike yells at the Dudleys for not caring about Molly or him.
Why would they? They already don't care about Molly. They've made it clear that they don't care about Molly.
Devon asks what he's going to do about it and walks off. Spike says, I know what I'm going to do about it. Doesn't elaborate at that stage.
No, doesn't tell us.
He just knows and looks off into the distance, seemingly ignoring Molly being checked on and how poorly she is.
Well, he's not a doctor, Mark. He's got to let the trainer get on with his work. I don't think he is. He might be.
Is that not a real PhD that he's got?
Spike, has he got a PhD?
Probably not. Stole it from Xavier Woods, no doubt. The first of our King of the Ring qualifying matches, Kurt Angle versus Jeff Hardy.
The Impact Special.
Yeah, coming from Victory Road 2009. Kurt Angle versus Jeff Hardy. Really short, back and forth match. Jeff hits a swanton bomb and covers Angle. Kurt barely gets his foot on the ropes, just the arch of his foot touching the ropes. Jeff sets Angle back up and climbs to the top once again, but Angle yanks Jeff back to the mat by the leg. Angle then slaps on the ankle lock, and Jeff's forced to give it up, sending Angle into the semi-finals, guaranteeing Angle's going to have at least double, maybe triple duty for the pay-per-view.
Yep. This was a match, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just exactly what it needed to do. Put Kurt over nice and strong.
Yeah.
In 3 minutes or whatever it was that they got.
Yeah, it's just weird. All the shit that, and I'm not one to defend him, but that what Russo got a couple of years ago for having a wrestling show for 2 hours with like 20 minutes of wrestling or 15 minutes of wrestling, and what about all these?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But they're in full on Russo mode still, aren't they? Even though he's not there. Like doubling down on the abuse of women, doubling down on the shades of grey, doubling down on the horrible storylines that make no sense and the violence and all the rest of it. This is the Russo blueprint just a couple of years after he left.
Maybe he was back there secretly and they just couldn't tell the...
Well, he does come back, doesn't he, at one point?
He did. He was there for like 2 or 3 weeks, wasn't he?
And everyone went mental and they got rid of him.
Yeah. Cut to backstage where Deborah watches Austin pacing around the room. Austin says he needs someone he can talk to, someone to listen and understand him. A confidant.
This is so great.
Deborah suggests that she could help him. Austin scoffs at this, saying, "I'm the world champion. What do you understand about being the world champion?" And Deborah says, "I know plenty, because I was a woman's champion." Austin pisses himself laughing at this, finds it hilarious, and then just walks off.
I thought they were going to say that she was a multi-time beauty pageant winner and all the rest of it, like they did in WCW. I had no memory of her being the WWF Women's Champion.
I don't remember her ever having a match.
Nope, me neither. She definitely won beauty pageants though.
I don't know. I know she was a woman. I don't know about the champion part of it.
I'm led to believe she still is, but I have no idea. Austin. He just cracked up. It was great.
Again, it's just like you can tick them off every segment, one for one. Yeah, this one's going to be a good one when you see it's an Austin one. Quite happily just skip through the network, just fast forwarding to get to the Austin segments. And this segment, William Regal's praising Tajiri for his performance in the King of the Ring. Austin comes in and Regal tells him that Spike has requested a match, but assures him he won't have to defend the title. Regal says he's going to push the tag team title match onto SmackDown and instead book a 6-man tag team match tonight. Spike teaming with Benoit and Jericho, Austin teaming with the Dudleys. Austin says he's fine with that, but what he really has come in for is that you need someone to talk to confide in. Regal, looking thrilled with this, is ready to be that person for Austin. Whereas Austin says, "I don't mean you. I'm talking about Tajiri." And it's Tajiri. Not Tajiri, it's Tajiri. Regal looking confused as Austin asks for a few minutes alone with Tajiri, but Regal complies and leaves the office.
It's just great. Austin, although he'd made it very clear that it wouldn't be fair, him defending the belt against Spike, he wants no part of that match because it's not fair to Spike. He's constant, "I won't have to defend the belt, will I?" Yeah. To Regal. It's just great. It's just such chicken shit heel stuff.
His desperation to hold on to that belt is fabulous watching that.
Which, really again, it all plays into the storyline of why he turned heel in the first place at WrestleMania, because he was so desperate to win the belt.
Yeah.
Because it's everything that defines him, and he was just so petrified of even losing it to Spike here. It was great.
We then got a promo for Tough Enough, which will debut on Thursday following SmackDown, showing a really young Josh Matthews in this promo.
Is this the one that also that Johnny Nitro came out of?
He was in a later one. I think he was in like the 3rd season or something. Okay. Yeah, Maven was the one that won this one.
Yes, and they showed Maven's name as well on the list of names they were scrolling through.
The last 13,
Yeah.
Michael Cole then interviews Taz backstage about Tough Enough when Hardcore Holly interrupts. He says that Taz used to be tough, but not anymore, and challenges him to a match tonight.
This is so wooden.
This is,
these dudes,
really exciting.
Oh, it's just so... "I do not think that you are tough enough.
Yeah.
I will beat you up."
So a match is set for tonight now. Bear in mind that tonight, we have the main event, which is a 6-man, plus we have the 4 quarterfinals for the King of the Ring, plus another single match now, plus more matches which haven't been announced yet. Yep. How many segments we've got backstage? It's crazy. No wonder they have a 3-hour show there.
and then they don't put anything on it.
Yeah. WWF New York. Kane's there watching a little kid playing with a teddy picker machine.
Was he trying to win sponges? They looked like sponges, I
I
thought.
think they were just like soft toys. Maybe it was SpongeBob.
It looked like he was just trying to get a load of sponges out of a machine. Okay, weird.
Don't know. Watches the little kid play on this machine. He loses. He then has a go himself.
In his gear.
He's got a spare quarter.
He's in his full gear.
He's in his full gear.
And
He's
with
in
his
WWF
mask.
New York, of course he is.
Yeah.
And he's in New York, so he just looks like he's somebody who's on Times Square trying to get a few dollars.
That is a very fair
Not
point.
like that weird baby.
But no one else is in the gear when they go to WWF New York.
Tested in his new full-size XL jumpsuit.
That's true. That is true.
Kane fails as well, so he punches the glass open, showing Bill Goldberg how to punch some glass in without injuring yourself and nearly ruin your career. He then steals lots of toys and gives them to the young child.
This is really weird. Why was this on TV?
I don't know.
And why was he trying to win sponges?
I don't know. When did he learn to talk?
Oh, he got rid of the voice box, didn't he? He had the voice box for a bit.
But the point when he learned...
But Kane's injuries were
It's
all...
one of those weird things in my head where, in my memory, he loses his mask and then he learns to talk, and it's just like... because I've
You've
tried
conflated the two.
Piece things together.
Yeah. But Kane's injuries were all mental, weren't they? They were all in his head. So maybe the voice box deal was as well. He just needed the confidence.
So there was never a fire?
No, there was a fire, I think, but I think it was like what's his name, Cody Rhodes, when he wasn't dashing anymore when he got that face injury. It was all in his head. He wasn't really that badly injured, you see, or something. I don't know. Okay. It's almost like it doesn't make sense, isn't it, that they've changed their mind on the storyline about Kane about 4,000 times. Kind of. This was weird, either way.
It was.
And what's that kid going to do with all those sponges? You've got to have a car wash, I suppose. You'd make quite good business in New York. There's loads of cars there.
Yeah, I suppose he could. He could just have a bath.
In
Kick
a
him in there.
bath full of sponges.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can buy that.
A nice sponge bath.
Absolutely. Sponge bath, that kid.
Exactly. Back to the arena. J. Owen Heyman mentioned that the Undertaker isn't here tonight as he's staying home with his wife Sarah.
Sarah.
This leads to a recap of all the stalking incidents so far, which I am not going to recap myself. It's all a little bit weird and stalky, and
that's stalkers for you, though, isn't it?
It is. They all tend to be a bit weird and stalky.
Yep, that's the Black Scorpion for you.
Back from the break, Hardcore comes down to the ring with an epilepsy-inducing entrance.
Yes.
I don't know what the hell is going on with that, but it just seemed... I was watching that last night here, and it's like I had to put all the lights on just to try and feel at home.
Yes, that was horrible.
Horrible. Taz versus Hardcore Holly.
Taz's music's great.
It's alright.
I really like Taz's music.
I don't know, the music was on longer than this match was.
That is a fair point. They did some stuff, didn't they?
They did. Hardcore Holly started strong, hitting the Alabama Slam for a 2 count. Taz come back with a T-bone suplex. Eventually manages to slap on a Taz mission and sends Hardcore to sleep in about a minute.
This was shit. What's the point, apart from to get dudes on TV?
It's just to, I suppose, show that Taz is the bad dude for the Tough Enough crowd.
I guess. Well, yeah, because there are several times said, Taz is tough enough. Taz has proved he's tough enough.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Next we go backstage with Tajiri. He's listening to Austin telling his problems. How a powerful man such as Vince McMahon letting a woman, that being his wife Linda, ruin his life. Austin would never let a woman run his life and make every decision for him. Tajiri nods and replies in Japanese to this. Austin says he doesn't deserve this treatment.
Tajiri, please.
Tajiri. Well, no. Austin says he's Tajiri. When I'm recapping, he's Tajiri.
Well, Steve Austin says Tajiri. You should say Tajiri, or they'll come and beat you up and call you a son of a bitch.
Do you reckon this is where like Regal got the idea of calling everyone incorrectly from? Like
Umanga and stuff.
Yeah.
Quite possibly. I'd like to think so.
Tajiri Umanga. Austin doesn't deserve this treatment because he's WWF champion. Everyone knows it. And even lets Tajiri touch his belt.
It was so great.
Austin asks Tajiri what he feels the solution is. And Tajiri answers him in Japanese. Austin calls Tajiri a wise man and thanks him for lifting the weight off his shoulders.
The look on Austin's face after Tajiri said whatever it was that he said in Japanese.
Yeah.
Again, he contemplated it for a second and raised his eyebrows in thought and thought, this man has got a point.
Yeah.
You're a wise man, Tajiri. Oh, so great. Steve Austin is fabulous.
And then they exchange bows to each other.
Yes, they did. Austin wasn't sure. He was tentative, wasn't he, with his bow?
Yeah.
And then Tajiri showed him how to do it.
Yeah. Well, you should never take your eyes off somebody when you're bowing.
That's true. It's disrespectful.
Yeah. DTA.
It was awesome. This was so great.
Regal then comes into his office, which it is, telling Tajiri that he's up next, and they will leave Austin alone.
It was a 5-star segment.
Fabulous. Back from the break, another break. Edge and Christian in the locker room, teasing their dissension. Edge mentions the possibility of them facing each other in the King of the Ring final when Kurt Angle steps in. He says it's pointless to see his two best friends at odds, and besides, it's not like they have a chance anyway, since these two matches away from repeating the King of the Ring. Edge and Christian don't seem to appreciate that and walks off. And as Angle says, I love those guys.
It's so sad seeing the breakup of Team Wreck and also just Edge and Christian on their own.
Yeah.
It's very, very distressing. They're so great together.
They are. Angle's great with anyone.
Yeah, they are. Kurt Angle is secondary only to Austin on these shows, isn't he? Through fabulousness. You could maybe make an argument for Regal being on the same level as Angle. Sadly, we just don't get to see him in the ring enough. No,
not at all, but certainly as far as the backstage segment. You're not seeing anyone in the ring enough compared to how you've seen them backstage, to be fair.
That's very true.
Rhino versus Tajiri with William Regal. Quarter-final match for the King of the Ring. Another short match again, but this one was really a lot of fun, I thought.
Yeah, this was really good. I really like this.
Rhino gets in the first shots, goes for a powerbomb, but Tajiri lands on his feet and hits a Frankensteiner. He does his handspring off the ropes, bounces back, hitting Rhino with the elbow. Tajiri hits a stiff kick and then puts Rhino in an octopus hold, transitions that into the tarantula. As he breaks it for the 5 count, readies for the buzzsaw kick, Rhino ducks it and powerbombs him. Rhino then readies to hit the gore, charges, but Tajiri cuts it with an awesome stiff kick right to the head.
This was
great, yeah. Absolutely fabulous. Tajiri gets ready to cover Rhino.
They got a really good camera angle on it as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was excellent.
It looked absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Terrific. Tajiri gets ready to cover Rhino and win the match. Regal tells him he should climb up to the top rope instead. So Tajiri complies. He then leaps off the rope and Rhino gores him as he jumps off.
Gores him to death.
Gores him 3 count and Rhino advances to the semis.
Mr. Regal was very disappointed.
He was very disappointed.
Commissioner Regal, excuse me.
Commissioner Regal. In the back, Regal is completely cheering out Tajiri for blowing his big chance in the King of the Ring tournament. Said he besmirched him and made a fool of him. He then tells him to sod off, bugger off, and get out of his sight.
Sod off. Again, I imagine millions of American viewers watching this and it completely passing them by, but sod off made me laugh a lot.
Yeah, not your everyday phrase.
It's really not. William Regal is the best. This match was great fun. It was a shame it didn't get to go longer.
No, you can cut quite easily Hardcore Holly and whatever it was, Taz. Put that on SmackDown if Tough Enough's on after that, and
yeah, absolutely. Although I'm sure
give this another 2 minutes.
I'm sure Taz and Hardcore Holly will pop up on SmackDown because everyone's on all of these shows over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, probably.
Lots of references to ECW on the commentary from Heyman. ECW crowd chants as well. Everyone was into Tajiri. Considering he only debuted on the previous SmackDown, he got a really good reception for the octopus hold, for the tarantula, for the kick. Everyone seemed to like Tajiri. Good stuff.
I always was a really big fan of Tajiri in ECW. I think I wasn't a huge fan of ECW on a whole. I didn't see a great deal of it at the time, but he was the one. His feud with Super Creator was the one when I used to watch that. It was great. It was, and he is fabulous. And even when he was back in the Cruiserweight Classic last year, he looked great.
Oh, he was great.
Some of the little backstage segments you had, like the YouTube stuff with Regal.
Oh, when he came to the Performance Centre.
Yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant.
And Regal was just taunting him with like a tin of Spam.
Yeah. Again, Regal just doing stuff to entertain himself and some English people, I think. Awesome.
Back into the arena and Undertaker's music hits.
Yes, it did.
So, obviously Undertaker's not supposed to be there. He's supposed to be at home looking after Sarah. But it's not Undertaker or Sarah. It's a masked figure who rides down on one of Undertaker's motorcycles to the ring.
Yeah, because earlier on, we at the end of the recap of the stalking angle thing, the Black Scorpion said he would reveal himself tonight in a very dramatic sense.
Yep. And he does reveal himself very, very, very slowly. And it's DDP.
It was DDP. The crowd popped, at least.
They did.
Crowd reacted.
The crowd popped.
This is so stupid.
Yeah.
You're doing an invasion angle, and you haven't got many of the big stars. You've got Booker, you've got DDP. You know, you've not got a Goldberg, you've not got a Ric Flair, you've not got a Hollywood Hulk Hogan or any of these dudes. Could you not have DDP lead the invasion? Why does he have to do this? Why does he have to do this stupid fucking angle? And spoiler alert for the next couple of minutes. Why do they have to talk about how he's not really famous? What?
He's never been to the big show before.
But he has. He drove the Honky Tonk Man to the ring at WrestleMania 6. That's the biggest show.
That was 11 years before this.
It's not the point. He's still been there. He's still been at the big show.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The best bit about this whole thing, for my money, is that Paul Heyman references Sarah Taker. So are we to believe that the Undertaker's name is actually Under?
I hope so.
I really hope his name is Under and not Mark, as we've been led to believe. Sarah Taker.
Yeah. Maybe Mark's his middle name.
Maybe Mark is his middle name. The segment we had earlier on, at the end of the recap of the various creepy stalker videos, the Black Scorpion was in like a shed or something on the Undertaker's land, and they were going to take a saw back to
Sarah's dad,
to Sarah Taker's dad, and then Undertaker says, "No, we don't need it. I'll take it back to him. I'll need it tomorrow.
I need it tomorrow."
So he's taking it to SmackDown. Presumably, he's taking that saw to SmackDown in this.
SmackDown's on Thursdays,
but it's recorded on Tuesdays.
Was it?
SmackDown was recorded on Tuesdays at this point.
Maybe he's taking SmackDown. Maybe he was going to saw somebody.
Find out.
Maybe he's doing a bit of magic.
Maybe he's doing a bit of magic.
He's done a lot of magic over the years.
That's true. Undertaker acting with Sarah Taker in this segment was
saw in half.
Was so bad.
He did have those like magic silver hoops as well, which he put together and disconnected.
Maybe he was Fantasia after all these years. Maybe it was him. Anyway, please continue and recap this terrible segment.
Yeah, okay, I will do. He unveils himself as DDP, takes his mask off and does the diamond cutter sign and gets on the mic and says, "Taker, you never saw it coming." He said he did this because he wants to make an impact.
Like the diamond cutter out of nowhere, he said, which is where Randy got it from, obviously.
Yeah. He wanted to make an impact, and the best way was to go after the biggest dog in the yard. And then he clarifies that the biggest dog in the yard is Taker and not Sarah.
In case anyone had missed that.
Just in case.
Maybe someone should go out, should do this to Roman then. Someone should stalk his wife and his child, like Bray Wyatt tried to do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he was doing, going after the biggest dog in the yard.
Is that why Bray Wyatt's getting divorced?
It might be. It might be. Not the kid bit. Not the kid part. No, this is so bad. This is so stupid.
DDP mentions how Taker always called the ring his yard and never showed weakness. That is until a few weeks ago, when he threatened to make Austin famous if he ever thought about messing with his family. Well, duh, says DDP. Austin's already famous.
Unlike me, because I'm a massive dork.
But when Taker said that, he didn't sound like a dead man, but he was very much alive. Taker claims to be fearless, yet he's been locking the doors and windows. He even stayed home with Sarah. DDP says if anyone truly deserves to be famous, it's him. And he's going to use Taker to get to the top of the business and promises to see Taker at King of the Ring.
Wasn't he like a 5-time world's champion at this point, DDP?
It was a couple. I don't know if it was 5. It could have been 5. Who knows?
Well, it was WCW, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But he was a multi-time world champion.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's WCW and all the rest of it, and it's WWF telling this story. But what the hell? What
was it?
I don't get it.
They also had this. What was it? It was something like King of the Ring, but it was an actual ring that he won. There was like some tournament.
Oh Christ! Yes, there was. Yeah.
Johnny B. Bad won it off him or something.
Yes.
Whatever that was, he won that anyway.
He did. This is stupid.
But you lost Kimberly because of that. So.
Yeah, that's another thing. Another reason why this makes no sense. Why would he be stalking Sarah Taker when he's got Kimberly at home? He was still married to her at this point.
Was it?
Yeah.
Kimberly's much nicer.
She is. Yeah. I mean, it's in the eye of the beholder and all that, and I'm sure Sarah Taker is a lovely lady, but not for my money. I think I'd prefer to see my lovely wife at home.
I like to think she's horrible. She tattooed Taker's neck while he was asleep.
That is true, and it wasn't a very nice tattoo.
It was a horrible tattoo. It's because she was still really tired.
This is just very, very bad.
Security arrives.
Yeah, after he's done his promo.
After he's done his promo, security, it was just 3 dudes, one of which I'm pretty sure was Egon Spengler from the Ghostbusters.
And the other one was about the size of, I think, the arena.
Yeah.
He was a fat dude.
It's not like now when you see guys in development who are the security guys.
Crap indie haircuts.
This is guys who that could have just got from the front row.
I bet these were the security guards, weren't they, from the show? They turned up at the end of the promo, walking down to the ring, and only when
big
DDP
dude was that guy from TNA. He bust the ring. I'm pretty sure.
And DDP runs out of the ring and runs into the crowd, and at that point they break into a light jog.
Apart from the big dude.
Apart from the big dude. This whole segment is very, very stupid, and this whole storyline is very, very stupid.
Yeah.
They could have had someone with some credibility leading the invasion, but nope. We have to stalk the Undertaker's wife for some reason. Bad.
To make yourself famous.
Badness.
Speaking of stupid, recap of SmackDown where Terry accidentally smacks Perry in the head with a silver tray at a restaurant.
Yep. Because of concussions, you see.
He's not had enough, that's his problem.
No, that's the thing. Oh my god.
Why do you reckon he'd put that big fucking tattoo on his face over all those years and disappeared out of sight?
Drugs and concussions,
yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. King of the Ring qualifier again. Edge with Christian versus Perry with Terry. Really, really dull. 2-minute match. The whole way through this match, the commentary just talked about DDP and Taker.
Yep.
Edge won with the Impaler after a distraction from Christian. That's it.
Again, it buries the tournament. It buries the dudes in the tournament. This was terrible.
Yeah, it's 2-minute match. It was a bit shit. Yet another match on this show. A European title match, don't you know? Matt Hardy with Lita versus Albert.
Can we not just have some good wrestling rather than lots of bad wrestling?
Because we need another variation of the Hardys versus X Factor.
That's very true.
When I say we need,
We're getting
have one.
Yeah, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. Dull, brawling inside the ring, brawling outside the ring, more brawling inside the ring, which leads to Albert choking Matt. Albert doesn't break at the 5 count and gets DQ'd. That's all there was to it. Just incredible in X-Pac in some dungarees.
X-Pac looked amazing in that segment.
He looked like Hillbilly Jim.
Yeah, when they came running out, Just Incredible's got the knee-length cut-off jeans on, and X-Pac's got just dungarees and no shirt. Yeah. I could just see this flash of blue denim, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Is it the Godwins? Have they come back? Who is this? It wasn't the Godwins.
Oh, if they'd have bought a slop bucket out and slopped Lita.
That would have been better.
It would have been much better.
The most entertaining thing in this entire match, for me anyway, was, rather than watch the dudes in the ring, was try and watch those 2 absolute dorks in the corner in the crowd.
Didn't see that.
One of which had an NWO t-shirt on. I think they are what you would call smarks. Okay. They had a series of signs up in the corner saying, who booked this crap, and I'd rather be in China.
I saw those signs, yeah.
Did you see the other sign they held up about Lita?
No.
I was trying to figure out what it said for most of the match, and I thought I had it down, but I actually got it wrong. What their sign said was, we've seen Lita wrestle, what I'd like to see is her, and I couldn't figure out what the last word was. And I thought it said boobs, which, you know, it's probably a fair shout, isn't it? We'd like to see her boobs. That wasn't what it said on the sign.
No.
It said, we've seen Lita wrestle, but I'd like to see her box. Awesome. These 2 dudes look so pleased with themselves.
Oh, I would be.
And they kept holding up those signs all the way throughout the match. And then in the main event, they just constantly had the who booked this crap sign up.
Oh, next show we go to, can we replicate that sign?
Absolutely we can.
Oh,
what a bunch of dweebs.
I know. Let's wait for Viper's next match. Yeah, beat down after the match. Jeff comes out, but he's still selling his injured ankle from earlier from the ankle lock. They all end up getting beat down. Albert finishes with a Boldo bomb on Matt, and Albert and the Godwins celebrate. And
it was in the replay of that Boldo bomb that I was able to see the sign about the box.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It wasn't Edge and Christian, was it?
I don't think it was Edge and Christian. I don't think so.
Backstage, Steve Austin shining up his championship belt. Vince walks in.
Very shiny.
Very, very shiny. I'm sure Deborah's been doing it, quite a bit for him as well.
I'd have thought so.
Vince asks him how he's feeling physically and emotionally.
Vince wearing an awesome Hawaiian shirt.
It looked like he was on holiday in Cuba or something.
Yes, it did. I was going to wear my Hawaiian shirt as tribute this evening. This Vince's shirt is great.
Where would it progress next week?
I think I will.
Yeah, well, we'll do for you.
Casual Vince is great.
Austin says he's in great shape and focused, and Vince asked him what he was thinking with that hug. Vince actually watched the TV show last week.
Yes, he did.
He watched it back on TV and says, I was fine with the hug, but I watched it back, and that look in your eyes, what did that look mean?
Vince is the first person in the history of professional wrestling to watch the show after he's been on.
To take any notice of what's actually on the show.
Good for Vince.
Good. Well, someone's got him, and he might as well be the boss.
Absolutely. You can see how much the relationship with Austin means to him.
Yeah. Austin doesn't understand his issue, says, what's wrong with a good old-fashioned hug? So you're right, nothing wrong with that at all. Vince mentions Austin's petition on SmackDown and also brings up Austin defending his title against Spike so close to the pay-per-view without even consulting him. Austin says Spike pissed him off and he makes his own decisions. Vincent asks him why he's in a 6-man match tonight against the 2 men challenging him for the title on Sunday. Austin tells Vince he's sick of him, sick of Linda and sick of his divorce. He's going to decide to follow Ty Jerry's suggestions and tell Vince he can either have Austin or he can have Linda, but he can't have both. He then demands that Vince makes up his mind and storms out the room.
Far be it from me to criticise Steve Austin, but isn't he only having Steve anyway? Isn't he getting divorced from Linda? Isn't the story that they're getting a divorce?
I think it's just the fact that it's carrying on and he's just not like cutting the cord and agreeing to her.
Right, okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
He's just saying, get it cut and shut, let's get this
like
out of
last
the way.
week, just give her the 500 million. That's it.
But she doesn't deserve the 500 million.
She doesn't deserve it, but give it to him because it's affecting Steve.
That's true. Yep, that's a fair point. I'm sorry to have questioned you, Mr. Austin.
No, correct. I think so too. Back from the break, we get footage showing Vince leaving in his limo. Very, very short night for Vince.
Absolutely.
Tonight.
He's out partying, wearing that shirt.
I would say
he's going to hit the bars.
A few cocktails, I think, for Vince. Spike meets with his partners for the main event tonight. Thanks them for coming to Molly's rescue on Thursday in SmackDown. Benoit starts to rib him, telling him it wasn't about him, and he's a nobody. They then all have a good laugh. Jericho ruffles his hair, and all will be one big happy family.
Yes.
A little bit of an awkward segment, but
yes, it was.
There you go. Not everyone can, I suppose.
No.
Promo.
It probably would have been better if it wasn't for things that happened later. It's still weird. It's still uncomfortable. I can watch him wrestle a bit better now. The other stuff I just can't deal with. It's still strange.
I'm kind of managing to put it out the back of my mind while I'm watching it.
Yeah, the wrestling stuff I can cope with, but anything that's not wrestling, and particularly when he's menacing people like he was doing to Spike, even though it was a joke, I just still can't deal with it. Backstage,
Edge talking with Rhino about one of them going to the finals in the King of the Ring. Rhino mentions he's got 3 victories over Chris Jericho, so if Jericho wins the title, he should be the #1 contender. Edge then wonders if beating Rhino would make him the #1 contender instead, but Rhino doesn't seem to appreciate that. Christian arrives, we get more jealousy about how hard his opponents have been while the others have had it easy. Rhino points out that should Christian win, he has to face Kurt Angle anyway, who said he's already going to repeat this year. Rhino mockingly says how they don't have a chance anyway against Angle, so don't even bother. And the 3 of them just walk off.
This was a weird segment.
I've not been that impressed with the Edge and Christian backstage stuff, what we've seen so far, to be honest.
No, it's because they're breaking up, isn't it? It's very sad. It's a very traumatic time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Edge is going babyface, isn't he? And this goes on for ages, just so you know. We get a lot of this.
Well,
we do get Edge with the awesome King of the Ring trophy, though, which is always good.
Oh, does he win?
I think he does. He wins this year, doesn't he? I think.
You bastard. I don't know.
He wins one of the years.
It's always Billy Gunn.
He could well be. But yeah, he gets the big Stanley Cup style trophy at one point. I'm sure he does.
I don't know.
There, who knows?
Don't know. Well, we'll watch it next week.
So find out. Yeah.
Final King of the Ring quarter-final match: Big Show versus Christian. Big Show dominates until Angle interferes, telling Show, at King of the Ring, you're mine. Big Show responds to this by pie-facing Angle. Angle tries to go after him, but the referee attempts to keep him out of the ring, which allows Edge to interfere. We get Edge hitting Big Show with a chair shot to the leg. Edge and Christian then hit a concerto on Big Show. Christian gets 3 counts. Another very short match, couple of minutes.
Christian advances,
and we have Team Wreck in the semi-finals.
And who's the other semi-finalist?
Rhino.
So we've got 4 heels?
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3 heels and a tweener, I suppose, in Edge, sort of, kind of.
Didn't seem very tweenery in this one.
No, he didn't. All the backstage stuff, it's there's conflict and there's disagreement. When they're out in front of the crowd, there's unity, and they pull together to get each other through the matches. So good for them.
JR hypes a 6-man main event. Chris Benoit, Jericho, Spike versus Austin and the Dudley Boys. So all starts well for the faces. They dominate until Benoit tags in Spike. Spike climbs to the top rope, hits Devon with a double stomp. Then he dares Austin to come in after him before hitting Devon with a Hurricane Rana. Devon whips Spike into the corner but eats a boot. Spike then climbs to the middle rope and leaps off. Devon clotheslines him. Bubba screams at Devon to tag him in, but Austin takes the tag instead and starts pounding away on Spike. Austin grinds his knee brace into Spike's face.
Very natty red knee braces on Steve this week. They were gold last week.
Gold last week. Nice and red ones now. Maybe he's...
I like it.
I don't know.
He's branching out, isn't he?
Maybe they're on the merch stall.
Maybe they are, yeah. Get your patented Steve Austin red knee braces. It kept coming undone though, didn't it, this week? The little, little tag thing on the side kept coming undone.
Probably blame Deborah for that.
Probably was her fault. Hadn't shined them properly.
Yeah. While this is going on, Bubba and Devon each pull a table from under the ring and set them up outside.
Crowd went mental for the tables.
Yeah, set them up outside and then just move away and leave them as if, yeah, we're going to use these later. Austin though tells his partners he doesn't approve of the tables. Spike rolls him up from behind with a schoolboy for a 2. Austin angrily then tags in Bubba, and Bubba slaps Spike hard in the face, as hard as he can. The crowd again chant, "We want tables." Devon climbs to the top, hits the what's up headbutt, followed by laying the boots into Spike. Bubba tags back in, chokes Spike on the ropes, and climbs to the middle rope, but misses a senton, as he always does. Both men crawling towards their corners. Bubba tags in Austin. Spike makes the hot tag to Benoit. Benoit and Austin exchanging punches. Benoit gets the advantage. Bubba comes in, but Benoit catches him, hits him with a German suplex, and hammers away at Austin in the corner. Jericho climbs to the top rope and nails Bubba with a missile dropkick. Devon Irish whips him, eats a forearm himself, and rolls out onto the apron, where Jericho hits a springboard shoulder block, sending him through one of the tables that Devon himself set up earlier. What a stupid idiot.
Oh, the irony.
Tell me about it. Benoit stomps Austin in the corner and chokes him with a boot, while Spike hits the Dudley Dog. Benoit hits 3 German suplexes in at Austin, just the 3 tonight. Climbs to the top rope, goes for the headbutt but misses. Both men are back up, exchanging shots. Benoit gets a waistlock, but Austin kicks him below the belt. Spike gets in, sets Austin up for the Dudley Dog this time, but Austin tosses him over the top rope and through the other table.
That was great.
That
looked painful.
Must have killed him.
Yeah.
It must have broke his arse.
I would have thought so.
That, yeah, not good times, that one. Austin pounds on Benoit while Earl Hebner pulls him off, so Austin shoves Hebner.
Yeah, I missed that.
In the version I saw, he did.
Not on my version, he didn't.
Yeah, that's where his knee brace started to come unstuck. So Austin shoves Earl through the ropes.
You'd think you'd be nicer to him, really, wouldn't you?
Well, wait till the cameras are stuck.
Well, I suppose.
He brings a chair into the ring, ready to swing at Benoit, but Jericho makes a save, hammers away at Austin, puts him in the walls of Jericho. As he does this, Benoit applies the crossface and Austin taps out.
Indeed. The
Good
title
match.
is in jeopardy on Sunday evening.
It was a good match while none of the Dudleys were involved.
Absolutely it was. Yeah. No, it definitely was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very similar show to the one that you watched and recapped, whereas anything with Austin, Angle, Regal is absolutely gold, and Tajiri now as well. Tajiri, and everything else.
A show.
It could be any match or any segment from any show in the last 25 years.
Yep. We did miss, there was an invasion segment on the previous week's SmackDown one that Stacey Keibler turned up and distracted somebody during a segment. Yeah, they mentioned it on commentary.
Okay.
I think she distracted Bubba, or she might have distracted Rhino at some point. So, yeah, the invasion is still going on, but it's not really a focus at the minute. A lot of the focus is on Austin and the title situation.
Yes.
Yeah, everything with Austin is great. Everything else basically is bollocks. That's with those shows. Very briefly, very quickly, G1, we're going to get Omega and Okada 3.
Omega and Okada 3 in a G1 block match.
So, Omega wins, do you think? Sets up the actual genuine rubber match at the Tokyo Dome show in January? Because then it's 1-1 each and a one tied match.
It's very telling if he does win. I think it has to go that way. Or, maybe not for the title. Maybe just a match to finish it off.
To finish it off. Because by that point we could have double world's champion Cody Rhodes.
Absolutely.
Cody.
After
he won the ROH championship. Yeah, Omega and Okada 3 should be, well, obviously fantastic, but the 30-minute time limit isn't there, so we can't have a full 60-minute, unfortunately.
No. Plus, as well, the way with G1 you have that many matches in that short space of time, you just hope that they go into it without any ill effects from previous matches and
Absolutely.
they can go full out. Maybe it's for the best that they can only do 30 minutes.
Let's hope so. The B block is very stacked, isn't it?
B block we have Michael Elgin, Evil, Kojima, Okada, Omega, Juice Robinson, Sanada, Minoru Suzuki, so lots of lovely Suzuki gun stuff. Tamatonga and Toru Yano.
That is quite a stacked block. That should be great fun.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Block A, we have Bad Luck Fale, Hiroki Goto, Kota Ibushi as Kota Ibushi.
Thank Christ.
Tiger Mask W. Tomohiro Ishii, Togi Makabe, Yuji Nagata, Naito, Zack Sabre Jr., so both nights will be getting lots of Suzuki gun stuff.
Indeed we will.
Tanahashi and Yoshihashi. So yeah, we should be in for some good stuff. I would have liked maybe an extra one or two outsiders, like last year where they had Marufuji in there, who had some great matches.
Yeah. The B block is the block to watch, though, isn't it, with the guys that are in there, I think the
so.
two.
Yeah, I think it's going to get to the stage eventually, same as the Best of the Super Juniors for us, where we probably started to watch everything and then we just got to the stage of let's just watch the matches of the guys who we actually like to watch.
Yeah. And considering how long this tournament's going to go on for, we're not watching everything.
No.
But we'll be dipping in and out, won't we, from various points.
Yeah.
With the retro shows, with the WWE pay-per-views coming up, some of the live stuff that we're going to go and see as well in the next couple of weeks. Slammiversary coming up, lest we forget.
We're not going to watch Slammiversary.
No, Jesus.
That is this Sunday.
Scott Steiner in all his glory.
Oh, I can't wait.
Awesome stuff. So, we will be back next week with some retro stuff.
Some retro stuff and some other stuff. There's lots of stuff going on. Maybe some Long Beach as well. Yes,
Champion versus champion. Yeah. So, yes, we will speak to you in a bit.
Bye.